1. What is going on, Internet? And welcome to OnlyCops. We are having an early stream today. I found out that I have to go pick up the wife, so I will try to machine gun as many of these videos for you as I can. We will likely run right up into 8:30. So whatever I can get done in between now and 8:30 is what we're going to get done. I tested again for the fourth time Instagram videos, and they did not work. So sorry to the vigilantes and mostly to Juan that the Instagram videos aren't working still. At least the audio portion isn't. I don't have all of them pulled up. I'm going to make it easier for my vigilantes to track by only pulling them, and then I have like a way of indicating to them that I've watched it, just so that we don't duplicate any work. But that is my explanation for today. So I'm going to give a welcome. Oh, I got to change. This is not Custodes. For the uninitiated, this is OnlyCops. We do law enforcement body cams or law enforcement related content. And here we like to try to contextualize that content both for the public so they can actually know their rights and how to better, more safely navigate those encounters. And then on the law enforcement side, to push for a more professional and safe and courageous law enforcement culture is what we're trying to promote. This was indeed caffeinated. He was our first. If you are new and watching this after the fact, LD. There it is. I typically say hello to everyone that's here early. You can just skim through this part if you're not as interested. And when you see me click away from the scorecard, that is how you know that the show has actually begun and we've actually started the breakdown. I myself come with a law enforcement background. I was a city cop in a relatively large city here in Texas. I have a lot of law enforcement related here, both in the form of deputies, state troopers. There's all across the U.S. and then also abroad, which is actually kind of cool. And I'm happy to have it. And likely the comment section here, or at least the people that are here live, are likely some of the most educated viewers on the internet when it comes to law enforcement related content, because we try to get it right here. I'm going to get my hellos out of the way. And then, like I said, when I click away from the scorecard, you will know. But caffeinated, it is good to see you, brother. Thank you for being first. Patrol Rifle was indeed second. New Ponif, who has AI me. In it, in his little profile picture, Sticks, Dialysis Dude, Brave Django, Sam. I am doing a bad job of hydration today, so I'm sorry. Abby, it is good to see you. Custodes, RJ, Jordan, Tweaky Thrower, Christy Jazz Hands, or just Christy, should I say. She did great. Thank you again for helping with organizing this week. Tyler D. What is going on, brother? Cosmic Dark Matter, Snack, Producer Juan hitting us with the early stram. Shannon, howdy. That's her Ohio howdy. Uploader 755, welcome. Brian Miner, Manchester, that's Mancatcher Jonah. That's ironic on a couple of different levels. Thank you for gifting memberships. Shout out to everybody that just got some. BWP Photography, Angry Irish, WWRP 450. Welcome. Little Duck. Oh, it skipped. Hold on. The Serenader. It is good to see you, Sarah. Ivan. Let's see. Who am I missing? I think I got everybody. This is the early crowd. SB Crimson Vase, welcome. Lord Baker and Tyler D. If I missed you, go ahead and put it in the comment section. Yell in all caps, Josh. I will see it here eventually. And I'll acknowledge you again. Mancatcher, thank you for sending getting the memberships. If you just became a member and you're not already part of the Discord, you can do so by joining through YouTube. You can either do it through a YouTube membership or becoming a member of our Patreon group. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the Discord. We did a really fun random thing this weekend, and it's also how we organize this. It's now the only way that we take submissions for body cams is through there. We have a whole process for that because we get hundreds, if not thousands of these a week now. But we try to snack. It's good to see you. But that is how we do it. And that is how we try to get through most of these in an efficient way that I'm not beating up or abusing the volunteers that I have. So anyways, let's go ahead and we'll get into the show here. As a regular disclaimer, this is law enforcement related content. The unfortunate reality of that is it tends to require some level of violence. Ultimately, the government's monopoly on violence is contingent on somebody stepping in and doing this. We're not trying to glorify violence in the same way we're not trying to armchair quarterback this. We're really just trying to look at these things and have fruitful discussions about how both law enforcement can approach these from a tactics standpoint. So we call these people in the military call them wargaming. We just kind of call it just like tactically thinking through it, just so that if you're ever presented with similar circumstances, you have a little bit more in your playbook to maybe know how to approach these. And then to develop, SOPs for ourselves. And then on the civilian side, very similar to like an auditing channel, we just kind of try to get people into the mindset of understanding what their rights actually are, and so they can more safely navigate these. So anyways, Josh, please say hi to El Pete last stream. He crashed when you skipped him. Where's El Pete? You're just gonna skip. He used my full government name. He said, I could have swore I said hi to you last time. Lisa, it's good to see you. And we are indeed early today. Like I said, I have to go pick up my wife from the airport. She's been gone for a week, and I am not going to let that woman wait for me. Your cookie duster's looking good. Maybe you do go back. I tell you what, that'd be the only thing to get me to shave the rest of the beard. The last pretty much year and a half of my police career, I used to keep a mustache, and I enjoyed it. My wife, not so much. Yes, I am the Fed, and I said hello. Bane is here. I'll make sure I said hi to everybody, or I'm gonna get yelled at. I think I got everybody. Continue to yell at me. Admin, go ahead and berate me if I miss somebody. Okay, let's get started. This is Angry Sister has extreme meltdown in movie theater after trespass warning. I bet this seems like a pretty straightforward situation. This is, I guess, probably for most people. In America, at least, there's private property laws. Texas triples down on these. That if it's private property, they can basically ask you to leave for anything. There is no such thing as squatters' rights. There's none of that kind of stuff. But we'll see how this goes.
Police brutality! Hands Police brutality! Brutality! Brutality!
On a wonderful day in Florida, officers were called to a local movie theater in reference to two women being extremely disruptive during a movie. It was reported by staff that the women were throwing popcorn and yelling loudly inside the theater. When asked to leave, the women would get up, almost breaking an entire glass of wine. They would also yell out racist remarks and refuse to leave the property.
These two here.
Oh, okay.
I would like them trespassed.
Okay.
They said some racist remarks to the whole theater. I don't want them to come back.
Okay, sounds good. You have your IDs on you, ma'am?
When the officer arrived, everything appeared to be normal, but that would quickly escalate when the drunk woman wanted to stand off with the officer.
So what the manager asked me to do is to give you guys a trespass warning. Basically...
So there's also a level of criminal mischief that's likely happening here. Them breaking glass and stuff like that's going to require staff to actually clean it up, which is past regular duties. You can choose to prosecute for that. It's something else in other states, but in Texas it's considered criminal mischief. If you really wanted to be petty for that. PI is probably not. You'd be hard pressed to meet the elements of the offense for that, but how did they get here and how are they going to get home if they're intoxicated is something you might look at. If they're not getting an Uber, then maybe PI is the route you go, even if they complied with the criminal trespass. So your obligation to safety does not just end with making sure that the caller is satisfied. In this case, the caller is going to be staff at the movie theater. But yeah, I'd be curious to see. He's been very efficient. He got the information he needed right off the rip. As far as the CT, staff's probably not the first time they've had to do it. It's a very good job by that manager just saying, hey, this is why I want them to leave, which he's not even required to do. But he did it just to make the officer probably feel a little bit better about it, because he is asking that officer to exercise some level of authority. Ultimately, staff can't forcibly remove you, but the law enforcement absolutely can. Why is this? Why is it always my state? Bane, dog. It had something in the water or in the atmosphere for y'all down there. We have movie theaters that sell alcohol. I bet this happens a lot. Yeah, we have a couple of like it's like iPix theaters and stuff like that where it's like a lounge, and so you'll have like a table or like a really comfy couch that a lot of people will watch movies, and you get wait staff that'll come up and they provide alcohol there. But there's also like food, more than just like regular, like lame, like overpriced vending machine stuff. Tyler, it's good to see you. But yeah, I could see this being really common. Anytime there's alcohol, there's going to be an issue. So
Nothing criminal. It's just saying that you guys understand that you guys can't come back here. Okay?
RJ, it's good to see you.
Okay, sir. We're
Listen, you don't have a say. This business can do whatever they want. Okay?
We're innocent until proven guilty. That's the country I live in.
I never charge you with a
told
crime.
me I can't come back.
That's correct. You're being
Well, he
trespassed.
owes us a refund for the movie.
Okay.
If
well,
we put
that is up
That's civil. Tell me he says it.
to the manager. I can't force him to do the refund and whatever. You'll have to sue him. It's all civil. Nothing criminal there.
Let's go. I love it.
You don't need these.
Don't snatch.
Don't you
Don't
touch
snatch.
your hands off. Police
Don't snatch.
brutality.
Hands
Police
off.
brutality.
Let go of the ID.
So it's interesting here. So she snatches the ID card back, and this is a discussion we've had a couple of different times, and I understand both sides of the fence here. You do have to issue the CT warning, right? Which all a CT warning is a log that dispatch or the city keeps on behalf of business owners, and that log will keep track of who has been CT'd from where and for how long. 'Cause sometimes it's temporary, right? You'll get, especially in bars, if bars kicked out every drunk person they ever had, they'd lose a lot of customer base, right? And so what a bar will typically do is like you'll get hammered, you'll fall asleep or something like that at the bar, which is a bad look optically, but also you're not spending money if you're asleep. And they'll decide to just CT you for 2 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. Well, how on earth do I keep track of that if I don't know who you are? And so the argument is a lot of times that, well, I need their ID or I need a positive identification on these people to update the log, but it's not a criminal charge. He even said it's not a criminal charge, right? Because it's not. There's nothing in Texas Penal Code or anybody's penal code where being criminally trespassed, which is the now warning, because there's not like a sign that says do not enter, you're trespassing. That acts as a notification. We are verbally giving it to the lady specifically, right? So them refusing to ID here is not going to fall under the elements of the offense of like failed to ID, where if it was like a traffic stop or some sort of misdemeanor or felony where I know that you've committed a crime and I'm now detaining you for said crime, you can say that they have some sort of detention for the investigation just to make sure that a crime hasn't occurred, but he hasn't alleged any other crime. So her snatching her property back from the officer isn't really going to be enough, in my personal opinion. And this is a very, I can't breathe. Chris, welcome. Casinos use the real-time bans as well. Yeah. Hey, welcome, brother. The problem with him using force here is what was the criteria for the detention? And again, can I compel someone to ID themselves if I'm not putting them, like I'm not going to write a report for a CT warning. I might as like a incident report, but there's no criminal charge being alleged to. This is not going to go to the DA's office. This is not going to go to a judge. This is simply a documentation thing. See this a lot with like car accidents, right? Where you get into an accident and we just exchange information. None of that leaves that traffic stop. Now, traffic stops are unique, and there's parts in the law where you don't, it's considered a hit and run at that point, but snatching equals resisting charge. Shannon, that wouldn't surprise me. I saw this in another video recently. If you got something in your hands, it's kind of the reason why standoff distance is also important, because she was able to very quickly snatch these things back. If you have a little bit more standoff distance from them, especially if you're not trying to affect some sort of detention, you don't have to worry about your reaction time on that. I can't ID you to CT you. I'm with you. It's just the law is very, very clear on what, and this is Code and Criminal Procedure, CCP, so you can kind of look it up. But if you really evaluate legally, and there's some case law on this, it is them getting criminally trespassed enough for me to be able to compel them to ID. And if they don't, you got to look for something else. In this instance, I would go PI, right? They cause a disturbance. They're yelling utterances within the, or fighting words. Offensive language is not just like, hey, you know, Philadelphia Eagles are good, which would be considered offensive here in Dallas. But the idea is that they're inciting something that could potentially be a fight. So this is breach of the peace, stuff like that. On top of them being intoxicated, you could absolutely do either PI or something else, but that's going to be the charge. The CT warning will happen on top of that. And that's how you'll get the IDs and sort out the problem. But like, understand that that's what the authority is. Because let's say they're not drunk, and let's say they just, I don't know, it's like this dude's ex-girlfriend or something. They just don't want him here for some reason, from petty reason. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where you're leveraging force as the state on behalf of a private business. Private business gets to wipe their hands clean of this incident, right? This is going to strictly fall on you. And if the use of force is challenged in the court of law, the law and the legal language around how you can administer force and how you could administer the law or compel people to ID is what's going to get called into question. And you're really opening yourself up to losing qualified immunity. It's the reason why I'm having this discussion. It's very, very, very important.
The
Police brutality.
You're gonna
Let go of me.
You're gonna go to jail for resisting. How about that?
Oh, she called it resisting. Ooh, sin.
Resisting what?
You just turned a non-criminal act into a criminal
No, I
act.
didn't.
Yes, you did.
Really? I'll be filing a complaint against you. What is your
You're
name?
going to jail for resisting. Do you understand that?
You have to. Now, the weird thing about resisting, and here's where the law gets a little sus, is resisting, and I looked this up recently, in Texas Penal Code, you can still get charged with resisting if even the initial reason for contact was unjustified or unlawful. It is specifically in the law for the resisting charge in Texas Penal Code. You can look it up for yourselves, but kind of sus. So technically, it would count, but I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Stand up.
Resisting what?
Stand up now.
Girl, let me see your hand.
Stand up. You're going to jail for resisting arrest. Do you understand?
Resisting arrest for what?
Stand
I
up.
said resisting?
You snatched
Take a
something
picture.
from me. Everything is being audio and video recorded. Do you understand?
Let go of me.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Let go of Diana, brutality! Brutality,
Get
police
on your back.
So, though she's resisting, right? Let's just talk about it from use of force standpoint. One-arm drag is a pretty low level of force, but you got to think about the totality of the circumstances, right? This lady goes and falls on her elbow like this as an older lady, and you're not expected to know this as a law enforcement officer, but you're learning here, right? Women specifically, I'm not saying that this lady's postmenopausal, but maybe, right? Tend to have issues with like osteoporosis, or if they live like a very sedentary lifestyle, your bones actually thin. It's a very specific thing that's unique to women because they struggle with calcium deposits later. The reason I bring that up is I one-arm drag a 15-year-old, right? Young, very active, good, strong bones, right? Nothing happens here. I do it to a 65-year-old lady, and she might shatter her forearm here or break a bone or something like that, right? So kind of similar to what happened with the old guy at the car dealership. Poor old Asian man. This sucks. But he goes and he thumps this officer in the chest with his finger. He proceeds to do literally a very similar technique in the one-arm drag. Now, that guy did it with a lot more gusto than this guy is. But that guy went and shattered. I mean, and that's an old man, right? Kind of the same issue. Plot twist, she's 23. Goodness gracious. But the guy cracked his orbital bone and everything. Like, it was a very bad injury. And he opened it, became national news, so on and so forth. So you got to think about, like, when you're leveraging force like this, like, be considerate of who you're doing it on. Because, like, this lady's not going to knock you out, okay? Now, she could be a felonious lady and pull a gun on you or something, I guess. But, like, though I do believe with her pulling away, it's active resistance. He's not punching. He's not kicking. I'm glad the taser didn't come out, at least. He's actually using an empty hand technique. That's fine. It's going to be considered justified. Again, be thinking about liability here. I break this lady's arm, we have to pay for it, right? We, the taxpayer, we, the police department, right? But on top of that, let's say this resisting charge gets kicked, right? Because they're like, well, we're going to go ahead and drop that charge. Now you're starting to look at potentially losing that qualified immunity. You lose the qualified immunity, they're suing you, right? Not just the department. So just be cognizant of that. Are there some ladies that need to get one arm dragged? Yes. And if the resistance, if she's being assaultive, that's on her. She goes and decides to swing on you, it is what it is. But like in this instance with her being, again, active resistance, she's pulling away, maybe even pushing you away from him. You can use an empty hand technique. Just really think about that before you go and start throwing ladies around.
Brutality,
Get
police
on your belly.
brutality.
Get
This
on
is
your
very
belly
calm.
now.
This
You
is
are
fine.
way
Get
out of
on your
line.
belly now.
You are way out of line.
And he's being gentle now. I will give it to the sergeant. Once she's on the ground, like he's not doing anything extra. He's just kind of keeping her there.
What you want?
No knee on back. They're being very gentle. This is kosher. Shannon gets it.
Stay on your belly, please.
I can't breathe.
Oh, there it is. Where's Chris Kaufman? Chat gets points. Hold on. Where's Chad? It did happen. It did indeed.
Let me fix your cuffs so they don't tighten up on you.
Double locking. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Which is your strong leg? That's your strong leg?
I guess.
Well, then let me teach you how to get up. Put your leg out. When I help you, you're going to roll onto this leg, okay?
This old lady, you're going to be picking her up.
And you're going to stand yourself up. Do you understand?
Yes.
Let's go. Have a seat. Like I said, everything is audio and video recorded. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, so when you snatch your ID away from me, do you understand you committed a crime?
No.
Okay. You're going to jail for resisting. Okay? Do you want to play the same game? Please have a seat.
I'm gonna get my stuff off the floor, please.
The manager wants them both trespassed. Okay. She is going to jail for resisting. Okay.
Resisting wasn't anything. I took my driver's license back. He said he was
She
giving us a
snatched it from my
citation.
hand and hurt my
Resisting
finger.
arrest. You told us that we
You
were
hurt my finger.
trespassing.
No, in no universe, bro. Miss me with that. You hurt my finger. That's, and the reason why he's claiming the injury is because I think he realizes how on the line this is. Like, it's very, very in the gray. Very, very, very in the gray. What sustenance are you consuming for nourishment? This is it was a Hershey's bar. It's like one of the little Hershey nuggets, basically. You hurt my finger. I told you he was icky. Doug, the finger pain from this old lady snatching an ID out of your hand. The rule of thumb we used to have at my police department is if I was charging somebody for resisting, I needed to have like gotten kicked or punched or something like that. That wasn't an imposed rule. That was just kind of what we went by. If I charged people with resisting every time they met the elements of the offense, it would be every other arrest. I needed them to like run or something like that. Them just pulling away or pushing or not wanting to go into handcuffs, that's just a normal human reaction, right? I don't know. If he's going to push for resisting, causing injury to an officer, you better have gone and had EMS check you out. That was kind of I've legitimately been hospitalized from arrests and still not charged people for it. I don't know, Doug.
trespassing to get out. And that's.
Do you
and
understand that?
yes, and he's got it filmed. I have it filmed, so we don't have to argue about it. Okay? He said that we trespassed to get out. And he was writing us a citation that is not resisting arrest.
You're wrong. There was no citation. I told you there's nothing criminal.
It's all.
And you were
it's
issued
all
us a
from the
citation.
beginning. We were told, right? Told us to get out.
Citation. It's a trespass warning.
Right. And she leaned over to get her ID back.
Number?
Okay, the film will show that.
It absolutely will.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for these.
01645951110.
And the injury you take to her.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, thank God, these are
D echo
dead.
232-108-57-7430. I'm going to trespass.
We paid to get in here. We paid.
Absolutely, Carol. Absolutely.
You were not trespassing. That's correct. I told you they're issuing a trespass warning.
She wasn't talking to you. She was talking to
Oh, she's
me.
wrong. She's wrong.
Excuse me?
I'm trying to correct her.
No, you don't correct anybody. She's not, nobody's talking to you. Zip it.
So now I have to zip it. In this free country you speak of, I have to zip it.
If I do, you do it.
I've never told you to be quiet.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want law.
Everybody's pointing at them. Everybody's
Not a
like saying
warning. Let's just skip ahead here.
You don't.
There's no scratch there.
Oh, you scratched me. It hurts.
Take a picture of his finger that he.
Do what you want. You took it and you scratched my finger.
Let's see your injury.
Right here, you scratched me.
There's no scratch there.
Oh, you scratched me. It hurts.
Take a picture.
Come on, Sarge. What are we doing here? Also, like showing the scratch to him. Who cares? Why are we even engaged in this discussion? What are we doing? I'm glad these are deputies, Doug.
Picture of his finger that he's claiming that because it's on his.
It's going to be on body camera.
Well, then hold your finger up and let's see this scratch.
I'll take the picture myself.
Doug.
We won't come back anyway.
Supposed to be in there. It's introduction to detention facility. It's a felony, okay?
Woman was sentenced to a few days in jail and hit with a $250 fine. Before you go, we would like to know, do you
Bruh. Done. I'm done complaining. Okay, sorry. I'll check with y'all. Escaped psychotic felon, dog. What's going on? Bro, he like tripled down on that finger. I'm going to take pictures. If it was resisting arrest, causing injury to an officer, if that was a legit charge, it's a felony and she's going to county. Like, that's so soft. Vash, it's good to see you, dog. SB Crimson Vase. That's hilarious. Alfredo's also here. Did I miss saying hello to somebody? I did not. Cop should have done a football move. Oh, I'm scratched. I'm dying. She's referring to football as in soccer by American terms. But yes. I'll take, I'm going to take some points here for them being soft. I'll take 5 more. It was a legal arrest. It was just a really, really weak one. It's why I brought up the whole. I was prophetic here in a second. It's why I brought up the rationale and the steps you have to take to get an established PC. Right. At the time, he already knew criminal trespass is not a criminal charge. There's nothing criminal occurring. I am doing a criminal trespass warning for documentation's sake and as a courtesy to the business owner. As someone within my jurisdiction. That's it. I cannot force that person to provide me AID under penalty of a criminal offense the same way I can for like an actual, again, a traffic violation or something like that, a misdemeanor in my presence, a felony in my presence, something like that. In those situations, sure. You can Pennsylvania v. Mims your way into anything, right? But on a criminal trespass like that, you really got to be a lot more, you got to approach it with a lot more finesse. You don't have a lot of lawful. They could just leave. And if they leave, dope. I did my thing. You can tell them that you're not supposed to be here anymore and have the documentation of who they are because you got a visual, like a picture of them or something like that. That I understand. But like, you don't really have a lot of authority there. Now, they come back that same day or they come back later and the staff remembers it. Sure, you can push the issue then. But like, I don't know, man. That's where verbal judo would have really helped out. A purple thimble. The cop gets a purple heart. What? I'll give points to media for that. That's pretty good. There's this purple heart getting issued there. Goodness gracious. Medal of Valor. Oh my god. Lawful but awful. Shannon, I couldn't have said it better myself. Phoner, E.T. Phoner, he's here, my dog. Oh, and Tommy. 80% of my decision to arrest somebody is some petty shit. Is how willing I am to go to court. Yep, agreed. Tommy gets it. Especially like cops. I was in a very high call volume city. Tell me my boy can appreciate this. But like when you're in a city that's got a high call volume, you just don't have time for bullshit. Especially like during peak times. So it's during the day, during business hours, there's a lot of shit going on. And so you can't like allow yourself to get mired in a call because every second you're spending on one call, you're not available for another, or you're not backing an officer on another. Or if a hot call pops off, you got nobody. You have people having to like let arrestees go and stuff like that. Like I've had it to where mid PC search of a traffic stop, I'm like, that's like an officer involved shooting or a shooting in progress or something crazy. Where I have a dude sitting on the curb, sitting there waiting for me to finish searching his car for weed. And I'm like, hey, it's your lucky day, dog. Threw his ID in the car. Hey, your ID's in the car. We're going to be leaving. You be safe. But like, I don't know. Just be ready. I don't know. It's important.
Am I free to go?
How do you fight against an officer's word against yours?
I'm gonna look at my toe. I'm gonna
make sure it's parallel to the ground, okay?
Without the video, Smith Skinner may easily have been convicted based on Officer Zahersky's testimony alone.
I understand what I'm doing, but I've done 3 tests.
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel. Steven Zahersky is a retired professional football player who played offensive lineman for 3 seasons.
Dog. Tommy, same. I know, but
with the Cleveland Browns and Jacksonville Jaguars. And after his playing career, Zahersky became a police officer working in North Rialton, Ohio, where he was honored as Cuyahoga County's top OVI cop for 7 consecutive years.
Zahersky is a top DUI enforcer year after year.
It is almost universally that the top cop for DUIs is almost always doing something sussy. Like, I would be suspicious, truly, as command staff, if somebody was getting astronomically way more, and unless it was like they were part of a unit, and that was their job to do that, right? And in that case, they should have more than everybody else. But like, I have a problem in the same way that like you don't have quotas in law enforcement. What they have is like activity logs is basically what it is. And if cops in the same shift at the same time in the same place are doing a bunch of work and you're doing nothing, there's a way to hold you accountable to that, right? And you might get written up or something like that, but it's not like illegal for you to not to do anything. But there is the city's paying for you to be an active law enforcement officer. There's a general average that you'll be a little bit above or a little bit below depending on the month. Typically, if you look at like long-term trends, you'll have really active times in your career than less active. Your beat might just quiet up. You arrest a handful of people that cause most of your crimes. It kind of diminishes, whatever it is. But like when you're like way performance standards, Angry Irish gets it. But when you're like way out in the outlier, like you're getting way more like weed arrests or you're getting way more like DWI arrests, I would be interested to see how you're establishing PC for these and how often do those blood tests come back positive. You know what I mean? Like you better have a very high the charge actually sticking rate is what you want to see, because you'll see charges get kicked all the time. That's what you don't want. Now, if the DA is just not doing their job, the DA is just not doing their job. They won't say due to no PC. They'll just say they're just electing not to charge. They have to give some sort of disposition. But when they're like, this is PC-less, or we don't think we can prosecute, that's a problem. Getting the arrest is cool and all, but like it doesn't do you any good if there's no actual follow-through. If you're not setting up prosecution for follow-through, you're basically pretending. This is cop LARPing, just with a badge.
At one time, the best in Ohio.
In 2016, numerous posts referred to him on Facebook because of how many OVI arrests he makes each year. The year prior, his department made a total of 294 OVI arrests, and Steve was credited to 124 of them.
That's a lot.
During an interview after receiving an award for the arrests, Officer Zahersky said, quote, "I like to be nosy, so I'm going to stop a lot of cars to see what they're doing and why they are doing it."
That alone, maybe we should require college for cops. I don't know, Doc. So it's out of context, right? And maybe he's just saying this candidly, right? So he's like not explaining this all the way. But you can't just stop cars because you're being nosy. A better term, and these guys aren't like PR specialists, right? Cops tend to be pretty bad at this, but this is like a well-paved like path in your mind where you're used to articulating your authority, or at least you should be used to articulating your authority, right? So saying something as simple as I just stay active, or I have an interest in I don't know, dog. I observe things that give me reasonable suspicion to believe that crime is afoot, and I investigate it. Anything would have been better than this. It's whatever, man.
At the time, the department had no body cams and no dash cams for any of their members. And in October of 2018, Officer Zahersky pulled over 22-year-old Austin Smith Skinner for his window tint and license plate light.
Okay, that's PC.
Fortunately for Austin, he recorded the encounter.
All right, whenever you raise a foot, doesn't matter which foot, about 6 inches off the ground, you'll count 1,001, 1,002, 1,003.
After a series of tests, Austin was arrested for OVI.
Smith Skinner was also charged with fleeing, resisting arrest, and more.
When Austin appeared in court, his attorney called Officer Zahersky to the stand, and by then, they had noticed a pattern in the officer's reports.
What we did today was review a whole bunch of his reports. They all have kind of the same buzzwords in them, saying that the driver's eyes are bloodshot red and watery. That appears in just about every one that he wrote.
With that in mind...
Now, that to the layperson will seem like a smoking gun, but it's really not. So if you have legitimate drunk people, the physiological effects of drunkenness is almost universal, right? Like the whole point of standard field sobriety tests is that they're standard, right? And so the indicators you're looking for are standard. And they've been confirmed by doctors and researchers and whatever, physicians and people like that agreed. These are signs and symptoms that on their face alone maybe not equal the I can verify or develop reasonable suspicion that this person is drunk, right? But if I get enough of these indicators, I stopped them, their speech was slurred, I could smell the alcohol, I could see the bloodshot eyes, they really struggled with doing simple tasks, they really struggled switching back and forth between tasks, you know, like I have enough PC there to go, and again, they verbally admit to drinking the beers, all that kind of stuff. Like the reports are gonna have very similar buzzwords because that's what the law requires. So that's not suspicious in and of itself. It's just gonna be weird if all of his investigations are identical or the charges are identical. So that I'll give him a little bit of pushback on.
Austin's attorney questioned Officer Zahersky about his client's behavior during the stop that led him to think that he was operating a vehicle while under the influence. Zahersky testified that Austin slurred his speech, writing the same thing in his report 27 times.
1,028, 1,029. You're gonna go roughly to 30, okay, Austin? Now, doesn't matter which foot you use your right or your left. Arms need to be...
So slurred speech by itself is not enough because you could have a lisp, right? So you're going to want to see slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, ETOH on their breath, maybe an open container. They verbally admitted to it. You're going to also probably want to see some driving factors because, like, let's say he did consume alcohol, right? But he was driving perfectly fine. And though I can smell some of the alcohol, he has only got slurred speech. He seems very alert. He doesn't seem to be struggling with anything. He might have consumed alcohol, but might be under that legal amount. If he's at 0.06 or 0.05, this is not a crime, right? Simply now, if he's a minor, that's different. Any presence of alcohol in a minor is going to be prohibited. But as an adult, like they have to meet a threshold. And those thresholds have to be, man, dude, CCP. Shit is so important. Sorry. Maybe he's copying the signs of important word for word from the handbook. Mando. I mean, to an extent, right? Like, I don't have a problem with the language being the same. You have to actually see it and be able to articulate it. And truly, I have never arrested a sober person. Ever. Literally. I can say that now with 100% confidence because the signs and symptoms are very universal, right? But you're thorough in your investigation and you're honest and transparent about it. I didn't like taking people to jail. I wasn't trying to receive awards for the amount of people I took to jail. If I could let somebody go, I'd love, that was my preference, right? Because I lean a little bit more towards a libertarian mindset where the government shouldn't be messing with people if there's no need for it, right? But like it is not hard to figure out if somebody's drunk or not. Like I ask parents or anybody that's been around adults that drink, this is not complicated. We just have a certain criteria that's going to be considered acceptable within, the court system. The state has already determined what they will accept as evidence for drunkenness, right? So that's really what I'd want to see. Mark, what's going on, dog?
Down to your sides, both legs straight, and the foot that you raise, you need to be looking down at that toe. Make sure it's parallel to the ground too, about 6 inches off the ground, okay?
And after this test of Hersky, am I free to go?
Well, I'm trying to determine what's going on here, so let's figure out what we're doing with this test. Do you understand what you're doing here?
After this test, am I free to go?
You understand what you're doing here, Austin?
I understand what I'm doing, but I've done 3 tests. Okay.
Well, I'm getting yelled at.
Understand the instructions?
Yes.
Abby, why am I getting yelled at? Abby, don't know. Just making stuff up. I don't get pulled over by the police. Django, I got rear-ended by a 19-year-old at 169. Oh, nice. But this passenger ran from the accident and tried to jack a car. Tried to carjack a stripper. Dang, dog. That's rough. What is the difference between impaired and influenced? So to be under the influence of I'm under the influence of caffeine right now, right? Like caffeine is chemically affecting my brain in the same way that, so being under the influence, so there's DUI and DWI, driving while intoxicated and then driving while under the influence. It's kind of, depending on the state, it's a little more vague, but specifically in Texas, DUI was driving under the influence of anything that wasn't alcohol, but that was impairing your judgment, right? So alcohol was the big one. They had a specific law for that. There was marijuana, there was prescription drugs, there was a bunch of other stuff that you could be under the influence of, which means that you're driving impaired enough that it's dangerous. And we've met a threshold that we believe you are not safe to drive, right? But a DUI is way harder to prove because I have to know that you have enough of it in your system to fail. SFSTs are really only designed for alcohol. And there's not a lot of like common, I'm under the influence of caffeine. I had like 2 pieces of chocolate. Y'all need to chill. NyQuil, another good one. So DUI is a catch-all for anything that's not alcohol. DWI is specifically for alcohol. But when you have alcohol in your system, you can have a certain amount and not be impaired. The threshold for both of those charges is going to be that you have enough of this in your system that you are impaired, which is why there's a specific blood alcohol content mixture that's agreed upon by the state. That is the threshold for, if you're at 0.07, you're not drunk. But if you're at 0.08.1, Nick, you are, if that makes any sense. Caffeinated. Yes, Tyler Purple drank. You should definitely call it in. I'm under the influence of something that sharpens my mind.
I'm gonna look at my toe. I'm gonna
make
count
sure it's
to
parallel to the ground, okay? A little bit higher than that.
Also OWI.
What do you want? A level?
We didn't have that in
6
Texas.
inches, yeah, parallel to the ground. That's parallel. This is not parallel.
6, 7, 8, 9. Small steps backwards.
That is the cell phone video that Austin Smith Skinner took while doing sobriety tests. He had a bit of an attitude, but performed pretty well. However, Officer Steve Zahersky didn't think so and cited him, making references to his slurring words 27 times in his report.
We just got into a fight. We wanted to go to our friend's house. I'm sorry my taillight's out. I will fix it. Literally, look. I backed into something earlier.
That's a pretty short. I doubt that's the whole report, but that is not terribly thorough.
Like, my taillight's busted. I have to get my front fog light fixed. If you want to see it, you can see it. Like, I will go and fix this stuff.
Also, Steel Switch, I love you.
How do you fight against an officer's word against yours?
Manning had him demonstrate slurring. It was nothing like what was on the tape.
Having demonstrated what slurring was, I think that was key.
Officer Zahersky also testified that Austin swayed during the tests, and that at one point he raised both of his hands. But again, only after the officer testified would Austin's attorney play the video of the field sobriety tests. And when he did, he directed the officer to say stop.
Angry gets it. I thought the same thing.
When Austin raised his hands.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005,
Sorry, Shannon.
1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1012, 1013, 1014, 1015, 1016, 1017, 1018,
Django.
1019, 1020.
I was reading, okay, chill.
1021,
I'm a little slow.
1022, 1023, 1024, 1025, 1026, 1027, 1028, 1029, 1030. Do you want me to go any further?
I do not, your friend.
In the judge's opinion after the trial, he wrote that Officer Zahersky remained silent during the review of the tape. All of Austin's charges were dropped, with the judge adding that Austin performed the tests in what could only be described as in a flawless fashion.
Attorney Anthony Manning tried the OVI case, challenging Zahersky's account of things.
It's the same routine.
Almost like it's a template that he fills out.
Exactly.
Smith Skinner was found not guilty.
The judge also added that Officer Zahersky's report was replete with inaccuracies and falsehoods, attesting to the inaccurate statements while under oath, and that there was no question that the stop, continued detention, and subsequent arrest of Austin resulted in a substantial intrusion upon his constitutionally protected liberty interest in direct violation of his civil rights and the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. The department...
Brady list. Bro, this random footage here is hilarious.
had conducted their own internal investigation prior to the trial. And at the time, of course, they found no wrongdoing.
Of course.
Police Chief Kenneth Bilonovich said that he believed the judge's ruling to be, quote, a personal attack. However, after the trial, he suspended Zahersky for 1 day after finding that the officer was, quote, not as familiar with the case as he was testifying to as he should have been, in part because of an unvetted cell phone video that the officer did not get to watch before he testified.
It's irrelevant. You're not on trial, dog. The defendant is. That is the weakest. Dog, you made sworn written statements. You took someone to jail. You probably towed their car. What?
The chief stated that he found no proof that the officer lied or purposefully filed a police report with inaccuracies or falsehoods.
Judge Timothy Gilligan in court saw the video after Zahersky's testimony, and he quickly noted the difference between what he saw in the video and what Officer Zahersky testified to under oath.
A police officer testifies in court that someone he charged with DUI was slurring his words during sobriety tests. Well, the video doesn't show it, and now the officer has a date in court.
Police officer Stephen Zahersky said that Austin Smith Skinner had watery eyes, was kind of unsteady, also was slurring his words. After watching the tape, the judge cleared Smith Skinner, but he did something else. He also referred the case to county prosecutors to see if Zahersky had committed perjury. Judge Gilligan was none too happy, and in his judgment entry said what Zahersky did in his report and on the stand stains the badge of all courageous police officers dedicated to protect and serve. He wanted the grand jury investigation and got it.
After the judge found Zahersky lied in a police report and under oath on the stand, the officer was charged with perjury, tampering with evidence, and falsification. Fast.
Bro, let's go! Okay, hold on, I'm pumped.
Forward to just one day before Zahersky's trial was set to begin, his legal team filed a motion to dismiss the case, claiming that the prosecution failed to properly preserve the original cell phone used to record the video, and instead of seizing the phone and doing a forensic copy of its contents, the prosecutor had used a copy of the video that had already been entered into evidence in municipal court during Austin's OVI trial. The officer's attorney argued that without a forensic copy, that there wasn't a way to prove that the video wasn't edited or altered, and if the video couldn't be authenticated, that it should be thrown out.
Attorneys with different views of whether or not
attorneys. Hash brown attorneys.
Video showing an OVI test was altered. North Royalton police officer Steve Zahersky's trial began this afternoon. Now, his lawyers unsuccessfully tried to have that video of him arresting a suspect thrown out.
So the tape appeared to show a different behavior than what Zahersky wrote in the police report.
His attorneys wanted the video thrown out because it was a copy, and they were unable to view it on the phone that took it. They feared it could have been doctored.
It would be important to see that entire video to know what preceded it and what the importance is.
If it exists.
Judge Shirley Strickland Saffold listened to both sides and decided to watch the video herself.
4, 5, 6, 7.
It didn't take her long to decide.
Nothing to indicate to the court by the showing of the tape that the video had been altered or was not in its original form.
Before the trial, Officer Zahersky was offered a plea deal, but he refused the offer.
Officer Zahersky was...
Dog. Shout out, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Guy Fury Raptor, my dog. Where's prosecutors? You get points. They're getting after it here. I'm here for it, dog.
Offered a plea deal to take it down to a misdemeanor, but he'd have to give up his police certification. He didn't want to do that, so he's risking those 3 felonies now. As the trial begins, we expect opening statements tomorrow.
The next day, opening statements began, and almost immediately after, the officer was offered an even better plea deal. No felony charges, just 1 count of misdemeanor obstruction. And he wouldn't have to give up his police certification.
Dumb.
A North Royalton police officer entered a guilty plea this morning.
Okay, no. No. Negative 100. That is the worst deal I have ever seen. Where's judges for letting that happen? Dog. What? I'm salty, bro. I'm pretty salty. Like, I'm pretty salty.
To an obstruction charge, the surprise plea came in the middle of his trial.
He said the man slurred his words repeatedly, but the videos we saw showed otherwise.
The officer faced 2 felonies and a misdemeanor charge. He had maintained his innocence, but today he agreed to plead guilty to 1 misdemeanor charge.
This morning we entered into some negotiations.
Before the first witness hit the stand, Special Prosecutor John Ricotta addressed the court. He and the defense had entered into a plea agreement, dropping the most serious charges, felony charges, including perjury against Steve Zahersky. He was left with a second-degree misdemeanor obstruction. He jumped at the deal.
In exchange for that plea, other charges, including 2 felony counts, were dismissed.
Officer Zahersky took the offer, but the judge barely allowed it.
You had an opportunity, Judge.
Okay, I promise to accept it. Okay.
A surprise plea deal in the trial.
Bro. It's whatever. I just need to get through this.
Trial of a North Royalton police officer appears to surprise the judge, who appeared, as you just saw, to have second thoughts.
How do you plead, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And are you in fact guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Zahersky appeared humbled by having to say the words. In front of fellow officers, he apologized for letting the case go on as long as it did. He never admitted purposely falsifying his report.
I think I need to prepare myself better on my reports and testimony, and this wouldn't be a situation that happened
Brady list
today.
Judge Shirley Strickland's ample comments after sentencing left you scratching your head in a way as she addressed the parties to the plea.
And I feel bad about this plea. I do, Henry. I do, Mr. Ricotta, because I don't know what he did.
She is not alone. Zahersky's lawyer simply described the negotiations as being fluid.
With the felony charges dropped, Zahersky was sentenced to 1 year of probation, ordered to pay a $50 fine, and was recommended that if he returned to his job as a police officer, that he would have to serve on restricted duty for at least 1 year.
For the next year, North Royalton police officer Steve Zahersky will be back at work, but on restricted duty. Basically, that's inside work. That finding came out of the blue this morning.
Now, the judge also fined Zahersky and sentenced him to inactive probation for 1 year.
Okay, I'm done. Is this municipals? Gosh, dang it. I think this is. I got to look at the cops here. Yeah, this is municipals. Gosh, dang it. We were doing so well. I'm going to take 20. Unlawful arrest, lying about it, and then like, dude, where's admin actually? That's on him too. Like, I get, like, there's a certain degree of like, there are gonna be hard situations, right? Like you'll have like a really bang play on like an OIS, or you'll have like a use of force that just happens to look bad to the public that doesn't understand. That's like, hey, this guy just tried to kill somebody, and yeah, the officer doing empty hand techniques is within training, right? But like, it's Ohio, so half points. Nah, that's probably still half points. I'm pretty pissed off, man. That's not the kind of we have your back. I really think he's throwing the rest of his police officers under the bus by not holding this guy accountable. Because, like, now the whole department's stained by this case. And, like, how is this guy not on the Brady list? How is this guy not, like, stripped of his... At the very minimum, let's say the prosecutors are just cowards, right? And the judge just, like, drops the ball on it. The chief could have very easily just said, oh, what? I just don't feel I could terminate your... It's probably like a civil service thing, or they have a union or whatever. Dog. That was bad. All right, I took my hunk of flesh. I'm going to keep going. That was particularly bad. The rookie, what's going on? Drop a like. Man, that really pissed me off. You have to speak what you type in chat so they can see what you're saying. Oh, you can't read it? Basically, I just said the guy has no excuse. No, he should not be wearing a badge. And that the prosecutor and the judge dropped the ball. No, I took points from judges. I took like 100 points from judges. I did. BWP, reverse the script. Replay it. You... I'll give chat points. That's fine. It's fine. That's not the case in this situation. A bad arrest is one thing. Not doing your job, something else entirely.
Story you saw first here on ABC 15. Major shakeup in the city of Mesa's Park Rangers unit. The unit will now be under the command of Mesa PD after police records allege park rangers mistreated people who were homeless and passed around an internal goon squad patch.
Right now, the city confirms an investigation is underway. Here's ABC 15's investigator Nicole Grigg with the details.
This is a photo of all the park rangers posted by the city of Mesa last year. We have blurred all their faces, and we are only identifying one person at this time because he is the only one who has been arrested. None of these rangers are patrolling the parks tonight, and you're about to see why. They called themselves the Goon Squad.
So, and maybe my fellow peace officers can attest to this. Like, I was not that guy. I had plenty of uses of force, pursuits, kicked in some doors, got in some fights, whatever. I'm cooler than the average Joe, right? But on the scale of police, like I wasn't SWAT, I wasn't Vice, I wasn't in narcotics or whatever. Not some like high speed, low drag interdiction team or anything like that. Whatever. Dog, you're a park ranger. Ain't no goon squad, nothing, dog. You miss me with that. There's a scene in The Rookie where Tim was like, well, if we all get matching tattoos, that's what happens right before you go to jail. It's kind of one of those things. But whatever.
City of Mesa park rangers could allegedly earn a patch as a makeshift.
Oh my God, this patch. I give points to chat to whoever changes their avatar to this patch. Oh, this is cringe. Is this a go to Fish Cops? Oh my goodness. There. I'll let it be negative 69. Fish Cops can't be good. Squirtle gets it. Oh man. Or Squirt Turtle, sorry. I'm here. We're here. We're locked in.
Reward for gooning. What is that? A 60-plus page police report alleges that some rangers would go out gooning, and they would plan on beating up black people and the homeless.
What the fuck? Oh my God.
I was a park ranger.
Last week, a Mesa park ranger was arrested accused of possessing a stolen gun.
Mr. Amato, you were arrested yesterday.
Joshua Amato facing a
he had to have my name. Son of a bitch.
Felony charge. The Mesa police report alleges that a
Tommy, calm down. It's not California.
park ranger overheard Amato and another ranger saying they took a pistol off a person they described using a racial slur.
He and his partner were out doing their job.
Mesa police were called to the ranger station where they say they found the gun in Amato's desk. He claimed it was taken from a man experiencing homelessness and he forgot to turn it in.
What? Look, homeless people, generally speaking, don't have money for firearms. They barely have knives, and typically they shoplifted those anyways. But like, you confiscate a gun for any reason, it goes and it's booked into evidence. You confiscate someone's backpack, it goes into evidence. I've had to log people's scooters. Had a homeless guy got in a fight with another homeless guy, and they really got after it. They injured each other. So they both went to jail. And this guy had a scooter, and I was like, it's his only means of transportation. And I had to put a stupid little tag on it, and we had like a little like caged area where we kept stuff like that. Stop! No! Poe, you're wrong for that. All right. I said I would. Here, how many points you want? I'll make it 69 points for the gooning that just occurred. Oh my God. It is a canic though, so that is, I mean, maybe a homeless person could afford this, but this kills me, dog. Sam, it's okay. I went live early. It's okay. For everybody that's used to the normal time, it's because we're early.
But this investigation is about more than just the gun.
So today, there's no park rangers here.
There is not. I haven't seen a park ranger vehicle.
The ABC 15 investigators confirmed that the Mesa Police Department will now take over the city's park ranger unit, as several rangers are under investigation for allegations of criminal activity. This woman lives in Mesa. She's against police taking over command of park rangers.
And to me, it's like Mesa always promotes itself as a transparent, community-first city. But how can that be true when there's a major decision happening quietly behind the scenes? And it's all based on internal meetings, not public consensus.
The investigation alleges that some rangers went beyond the scope of their job duties, along with accusations of excessive force. It looks into concerns of drugs being confiscated and not turned in, whether there have been any sexual encounters involving rangers while on duty, and the alleged creation of novelty patches and challenge coins.
So as cringe as the Goon Squad patches, you got a bigger version of it here. I'll take that's for now the real Goon Squad is here. I will let Tyler, y'all are some hoes for that. Mighty Dork. Here's a bigger version of it so you guys can get a better picture of it. The patch, so from an agency standpoint, right? Like, let's say I'm command staff. Does command staff want you doing this? No. But is this act alone a problem as far as conduct? Not really. Obviously, you're not going to put this on your uniform. You're not going to do stuff like that. This is editorializing it for what it is. However, this does demonstrate a subculture that can be seen as unprofessional, more so than that dangerous, right? What you don't want is when you have to go and use force that they pull this stuff up, just like they are with this news story, that they drag this stuff up and they're like, hey, look, these guys wanted to go beat up people, right? I don't know. It's super cringe. The Punisher skull and all of it. I don't know, dog. It's whatever. But the patch, maybe a write-up. Everything else, like not booking in drugs or guns or whatever, that's charges, criminal charges. Like, screw just taking your job. Like, we're taking you to jail. But whatever.
Park rangers do not have body cameras, so we do not have video of the alleged gooning. We do know that Mesa police did take a patch into evidence. The city wants to make clear that the city does not condone the existence of a goon squad patch, saying they're deeply disturbed by the preliminary findings of an ongoing investigation into allegations of criminal activity and any wrongdoing. They go on to say several park rangers have been placed on administrative leave, and the ranger facing a felony charge has now resigned. We will continue to follow up as this investigation plays out.
We are against gooning. There it is. There's your soundbite. Plea it down to stupid goonstruction. Oh my God. Ballistic. We don't have video evidence of the alleged gooning. Is wild. I'll give points to media. They made light of this. I took some points from Fish Cop, so I'm just gonna leave it. I already took a bunch. Update the pic, by the way. Better quality. Oh my goodness. That's gonna be. Give it time. That'll be something in this stupid Discord. Someone's gonna have. I'm gonna make that like a title. If you're problematic in the Discord, it's gonna be blank and everybody else. Part of the Goon Squad. Just started. I know, dude. Is it really Jordan too? I can see Abby being problematic. Abby, Tyler, Squirt Turtle, Jordan. Who else? How many? I'm gonna take 10 per. I'm looking. There's no hiding. And then I can't. It's at least 6. You guys are the worst. I don't want to lose 69 though. You know what? I'll do 0.69. There you go. I took points for becoming the Goon Squad. Oh my God. Yeah, don't do that. In general, I've never been problematic in the Discord. Yeah, don't participate in weird, cringy subcultures within your police department that can pretty much almost never end well, right? But something else to consider is just like that's the problem with it, right? Is if you have your senior leadership, I'm talking about like on the street, not like administrators, but if your senior officers are engaged in gooning, right, the newer recruits that come in, or the newer, you were just giving us points for baited 1,000%. Take some more, fanboy. I dare you. I've started a rebellion in the chat, but the problem is going to be is that it becomes systemic, right? So you got a handful of people that do it, then you got more people that do it, and then you have a bunch of people not booking in evidence, beating people up, potentially there's sexual assault allegations. That's what's dangerous about police subcultures. It's right now, like, I kind of chuckle because as much as this might seem really cringy, it's the same thing where instead of calling out like cops that aren't fit to do the job, which is just, there's a lot. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you cut it. The current trend is to try to find female officers, right? Specifically. And so they're all 30 for 30, and this is what's wrong with everything. And it's like they're being infringed upon in their goon space, right? But this subculture that came out of that was, instead of looking at the problem as a whole, they just want to hone in on one thing. You see this a lot. I'm in the gun industry, and that's like the only complaint gun guys will have is cops need to shoot better. And I'm like, dog, that's not even close to the biggest problem we have, right? Like in general. Same thing. Axon kind of started weird, like a corporate subculture of there's got to be another way of doing it rather than just going hands on. And so we stopped pitting cars. We stopped doing a bunch of other stuff. So now more people are getting hurt because of law enforcement's lack of enthusiasm in trying to go hands on. And so then you can't do it when you need to. And I don't know. Getting to a meal. A succulent Chinese meal. You're the best. I do. You know what? I'll give chat some points for that. That's pretty top tier. I get the reference. Enjoying a succulent Chinese meal. The TV ratted me out. Beverly Hills requires a bachelor's degree. Well, there it is. My department did. I don't know if they still do. My God. Okay, we're done. We're gonna move on. Yeah, just don't do that. It's cringe. That doesn't make you good at the job. I'm like the anti that. I'm the cure. We are the cure. Be the cure, chat. Come on now.
Deputy Davidson, Sheriff's Office. The reason why I'm stopping you, had you at 85 miles an hour coming into the 45.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you were at 85 miles an hour, and you actually encroached into the 45 mile an hour zone.
Back there it says 55.
Even if the speed limit back there is 55.
Yeah, that's what I was going on.
No, you're going 85.
He did the 7-step approach. He's explained it. I feel like this is thorough enough. It's likely going to go into a back and forth, but good job on him for at least explaining it.
Yeah, you're cruising. Do you have your license on you?
Sure.
This section now is 45.
Right, because I'm almost home. I've done.
Thank you. Everything good with your license? No outstanding tickets or anything like that?
No.
I'll be right with you.
Oh, is this Florida?
What is your license? Sorry. So this is a citation for that speed, okay? The 85 and the 45. It does not. So with that, you don't get any of the 3 options. You have to contact this number on the front and schedule a court hearing, okay? It doesn't allow me to give you a fine amount, alright? All I need from you is a signature.
What do you mean?
Deputy Davidson. It's right there on the bottom of the citation right there.
You didn't hear what I asked. Yeah.
You said, what is my name? I said,
No,
it's Deputy Davidson.
I did not ask you that.
Okay.
Sir. You said that I have to go for a court hearing. I said, what do you mean by that?
It means you got to contact that number and schedule an appearance in front of the judge. The speed is too great for me to issue a fine amount because you're over 30 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Okay.
So all I need is a signature from you. It's not saying you're guilty. It's just saying you're going to contact that number and schedule a court date. That's all.
I'm not sure if I should sign anything that I'm not
Well,
supposed to.
I'm just going to tell you, a refusal to sign a citation is an arrestable offense.
I hate this policy. I hate this policy. So I've issued plenty of citations in my life, right? So we had an auto cite, so it's like an electronic way of doing this. We just printed off a thing and handed it to him. One, I didn't like handing people pens, which is sketchy in and of itself. They could just sign literally with their fingers, like a touchpad. But I've had, when those go down, I had to do paper tickets, and those press hard 3 times, press hard 3 copies, right? But failure to sign, this is coming from likely the DA's office, and this is also coming from like administrators, right? Where they're like, well, like this puts us in a weird spot where they haven't signed, so they're not like agreeing to whatever, and like they're trying to put that tantamount to like resisting, and I'm like, it's a signature acknowledging that they'll do it. Who cares if they don't issue the warrant if they're not going to go sign up to? You've notified them, you've handed them the citation. I have a copy. They have a copy. I'm going to turn my copy in to the DA's office, or the city, so the judge can see it or whatever. You don't show up, bench warrant. Call it a day. What are we doing jacking people up for a citation? Now, failed ID is different, right? You stopped the same lady for speeding, and she's like, well, I'm not going to give you my ID because I don't think I did anything wrong. I have no idea if this lady's an axe murderer. Now we're talking about interference, whatever, because I haven't concluded my investigation. I don't have enough information to go and issue. So there's a ton of case law on you have to provide some form of identification, and you have to identify honestly during a traffic stop. It's the only thing you technically have to provide. You could say F off and just hold your ID on the window and hold your proof of insurance against the window. And as long as I could read it, technically that meets the requirement. You don't have to roll down the window. I can issue the citation, put it on your windshield wiper, and deuce. No problem with that. But like, exactly, John Wick killed the guy with a pencil. See, he gets it. That should be on the soundboard, Abby. Indiana doesn't require. We didn't do singing. We would ask, and if they didn't, we would just put did not sign. If you had did not sign on your ticket when you went to go fight it, it likely did not go well for you. The judge would get salty about that. But I have an issue. I have the lady identified. I have the citation issued. I've issued the citation. Everything after that's whether or not they decide they want to appear or not. That's between them and the judge. If the judge has beef with them not appearing, they can issue the warrant. That's not up to me. I've already done my job. I found the crime. I've done some sort of adjustment to crime to adjust behavior, and I'm releasing that person on their own recognizance with a citation or a summons, right? I do not like this policy at all.
So you're going to arrest me because I do not understand what you're talking about?
I don't understand what you don't know what I'm saying to you. I had your speed at...
Hold on, let me call my...
Okay, so this is the deal. You were doing 85 miles an hour
hold on a second,
and a 45.
I just told you I am making a phone call.
Listen, I'm not here to make phone calls.
Okay, so you want me to sign something that I'm not comfortable with? And then I said, let me
You're signing?
Because you said you're going to arrest me for something that I do not understand why you're going to arrest me for. So I need to call my family member.
You don't have to call your family member.
Yes, I do, sir.
No,
sir.
I'm telling you right now.
Legal right. I have my rights.
Okay,
my rights
driving is a
in this case, she's incorrect, but yeah.
Privilege, not a right.
Driving is a right. It's driving on public roadways that's a privilege. You can drive on your private land all you want and do whatever the hell you want, but yeah, dog. I don't know. I don't understand what you don't understand clearly.
We're going to start out with that. So again, you were doing 85 miles an hour and a posted 45 mile an hour speed limit.
I said I was not. I was 55.
We're not going to argue roadside. That's something that you go to a judge.
Correct.
And in this case, you don't get 3 options like a normal speed citation. You get the option of calling the number and scheduling a court hearing. At that time, you can make your argument with the judge that you were not speeding. Okay? That's the time that you get to argue. You don't get to argue roadside. Okay?
I'm not arguing with you, sir.
You are arguing.
Okay. So you're going to arrest me because I'm not arguing with you?
I'm not saying you're not. I'm not saying I'm arresting you for not agreeing. I'm saying if you fail to sign a citation for a court date.
I am picking up the citation. I will go to the court, but I'm not signing something that I do not understand.
Okay. You want my supervisor to explain this to you? He's right behind me.
Do you want me to call my family member? Because it's right on the phone.
Nothing what your family is going to say is going to change what I'm about to do.
It's weird because she actually made a pretty compelling argument here because she's like, well, I've accepted the citation. I just don't want to sign anything. Like, I've complied. I gave my information. I stopped for the traffic stop. I've received the citation. Like, I didn't throw it out the window or tear it up. Like, I planned to have this discussion. She even agreed to the, like, oh, I got to go to court to argue my point, right? Dog. I had beef.
Tell you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I would understand them better than you.
Hey, traffic 6, you want to come over here?
But you said you're going to arrest me for calling my family member?
I didn't say I was going to arrest you for calling your family member. I said I would arrest you. You can't leave! I said I would arrest you for not signing, saying that you're going to show up to your court date.
You cannot arrest me for that, sir.
I'm going to let you talk to my supervisor. He's going to tell you that I can arrest you for not signing the citation.
No, you cannot arrest me for that.
All right. It's called failure to sign a summons.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'll be right.
Raira, so to me, and again, I'm already against the policy as it is, but if calling the family member gets her to sign the thing, I don't care. I just want whatever's going to end this traffic stop as quickly as possible, right? Technically, the citation's been issued, so the traffic stop's concluded. I've done my disposition, right? I've decided to take enforcement action here. I issued the citation. We're done here. I don't know. Because maybe it's a language barrier. Maybe the lady can't read. We don't know, but I don't know.
You can't leave! You want to go to jail today! You want to go to fucking jail today! You want to...
She said shoot me. Well, she's not helping her case now. I'm not trying to encourage this, but as a betting man, if she drove off, I guarantee you that pursuit doesn't get authorized. It's a Class C ticket, and they're going to take her to jail for failing to sign. I bet if you drive off here, she's fine. No pursuit, no whatever.
Stop your car and put it in park right now.
Okay.
Get out of the car right now.
I'm not.
Get out of the car.
No, you
get
cannot.
out of the fucking car.
No, I'm not. Don't swear at me. Don't swear at me. You're not, sir.
Stop.
He's not allowed to open my vehicle.
Yes, he is allowed.
No, he's not.
Why are you driving away from a traffic stop?
Because I'm talking to him. You walked away from me. I said, no, sir. I was talking to him.
So you were driving away while he's got your driver's license and you're all your paperwork?
He gave me my driver's license. He gave me my paperwork. And then he told me something that I don't agree with. He said, if you do not agree with that, I said to you, you will go to jail. I said, no. I want to call my family member to see why I'm going to jail for. I'm a citizen in here. What am I going to jail for? You give me a citation, sir. You give me a citation, sir. I said I will comply. I gave you my license and everything. So now you tell me you're going to put me to jail.
So, was it 30 over?
85 and a 45.
Okay, so
sir,
yeah, so...
I was doing 55.
Hey, listen, it doesn't matter. If you're doing 55, it doesn't matter. You have to sign that.
Sir.
You're not going to sign it, yes or no?
No.
Okay.
And then I will go to the judge.
Okay. Listen, do me a favor. No,
Sir.
take your hand off of me.
Sir, I'm not putting
Step
my
out of
hand
the car. Step
no,
out
sir.
of the car.
No.
You're going to jail.
No.
Step out of the car. You're going to jail.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Come on.
Okay, let me sign the paper.
It's too late, man. Too late. You're going to jail. Step out of the car.
The real heroes here. We're the real heroes. We're over here jacking a lady up for not signing a piece of paper. Like the Pinkertons would do stuff like this. This is why I have beef, dog. This is worse than old paper cut boy. The old lady snatched the ID the very first video we watched. The CT warning. The lady decided to just screw it. I'm gonna take my stuff back. He's like, you cut my finger. Well, it hurts. This is worse than that. This is stressing me out. I hate. Dude, what are we doing?
You're going to get tased in about 2 seconds.
Yes.
Step out of the car.
Wait a minute.
You're going to jail.
Wait a minute. Why y'all doing this?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, wait.
For what? What's our law
Put your hands
enforcement
behind your
objective
back.
Wait a minute.
Making
Put your
sure
hands
she
behind
signs
your
that
back.
paper.
You're under arrest.
Heroes.
You are under arrest. Put your hands behind your back.
Heroes. What a dangerous criminal here.
This is not right.
10-4 when you
Oh, no. She was driving a little too fast. Didn't cause an accident.
This is not right.
Isn't impaired. Doesn't have.
Sir, this is not right.
Okay,
Has
you
valid
were.
insurance.
Sir, this is not right. You just
Listen, you were ordered to.
Yeah. Squirt Turtle, not very goon squad of them, agreed.
You
just punched me on my
Listen
face.
to me. No, nobody punched you in your face. Say so.
So I can
Stop resisting. You're going to get your resisting charge. Put your hand behind the back.
I am.
I don't. What are you reaching for?
I'm not reaching for anything.
Listen, nobody punched you.
Oh, these are deputies. Thank God these are deputies.
Okay.
We gave you several lawful orders to execute.
No, it's whatever. Is this lady dumb? Yes, this lady's dumb. I would agree full sale this lady's dumb. However, these are like two idiots that ran into each other, right? You have dumb deputies with dumb policies and dumb driver that decides that she doesn't feel like signing something, right? Like, I don't know, man. They're both wrong for this.
Okay, watch. I'm going to reach over and grab your seatbelt.
I hope we're proud.
Put your camera on.
Did you put your camera on when you punched me, though?
Whatever. I'll take some from suspects. Not that much. Actually, I left it the same. I'll make it 5. Just because she made this worse than she had to be. Yes, she could have signed it and complied, and this would have been easy. But, bro, what are we doing? Let's see. It'd be administrators, actually, here. I'm going to take that from administrators. That's a terrible policy. Terrible policy. I also did not see a punch. Is she being petty and difficult? Sure. But, like, it's a constitutionally protected thing. That's my only issue with it is you have to separate your personal feelings from the enforcement action you're taking. And my biggest issue with that is, like, you've concluded the traffic stop. If she didn't give her ID, I would have blessed it. If she would have been, completely uncooperative the whole time, sure. Drunk, whatever. Knock it out. But, like, for speeding, that's the only thing you had was speed. I don't know, man. I just don't. We are given the very sacred responsibility of having the ability to use force on people to get them to comply with what society deems are important laws. But then we're over here jacking people up over procedural stuff. Like, that'd be like jacking somebody up for not, like, talking to you because I want a lawyer. And you just start beating them up. Like, you know what I mean? Because they decided that they wanted to observe their Fifth Amendment right. I don't know. Oh, we got Emu. Welcome. Let's see. I'm going to read through some of these here. Okay, I remember again. Tyler, welcome. Oh, did we get something? Tyler, welcome. Let's see. Scrolling. Darker DJKS. Domestic, clear with no action, failure to sign. Kick Goon Squad. So stupid. I hate y'all. Santiago Garcia Jr., brother, welcome. Arrest due to possible language issue. That's kind of what I mean, dog. Like, maybe she doesn't get it. It's just like such a petty arrest. And like, it's an avoidable one in my opinion. Stop. This is gooning police department. Stop joking it. Y'all still talking about gooning here. I am a warrior.
County deputies say they're considering leaving the department if they don't get more money. Last night, 13 investigators showed you the AI images circulating among law enforcement depicting Sheriff Ed Gonzalez as a clown, juxtaposing him and Houston police officers who are on the cusp of a big raise. The sheriff sending this internal memo to rank and file, promising to fight for more money. And today, it got attention from commissioners who control the purse strings.
When memos are issued and it implies that we need to do a better job, I think this commissioner's court has done an extraordinary job.
But deputies who showed up to today's meeting don't feel that way. They stand to make tens of thousands of dollars less than HPD. ABC 13 Jessica Willey shows us how the discussion over that disparity today got heated.
Yeah, last night we told you about the heat Sheriff Ed Gonzalez is taking from his deputies for not delivering on major pay raises. Well, today, some of that heat shifting to Commissioner's Court, where there was...
I'm on complaint to one. If you guys want officers reacts.
No shortage of finger pointing and a little drama.
May 8th, 2025 meeting of the Harris County Commissioners Court to order.
An hours-long meeting with dozens of agenda items and the majority of...
Hold on. The Goon Squad only cops? Hold on. Where'd it go? Put him in timeout. 60 seconds. Get wrecked.
Of attendees at Commissioner's Court Thursday were only interested in one.
We're losing deputies, and a crisis is inevitable.
Comments about pay for Harris County deputies.
Everybody is making so much more than us to where it makes no sense to come to the sheriff's office.
Starting salary for a deputy is about $57,000.
That is relatively low for 2025. That is, especially there in Houston. Like, that's a pretty high cost of living area. That's pretty wild.
More than $20,000 less than their city counterparts if a police officer pay raise deal gets approved.
And we honor your service. We respect your service.
I just look forward to a good conversation to getting us to a much, much better place.
Today, there was agreement about the importance of supporting the county's law enforcement.
I see you rolling your eyes back there, so why don't you come and tell me?
Before County Judge Lena Hidalgo singled out Sergeant Byron Garrett.
No, I know.
Plenty of times that in each district that we only have 3 or 4 deputies patrolling. And sometimes as supervisors like myself, I have to go out and pick up calls. We are the ones that are busting our tails, are coming to work every day, and we're not getting paid.
Hidalgo, who missed some of the comments.
I stepped out to watch the first words of the Pope. It's very meaningful for me, so I hope you guys understand.
One, as a city council member or whatever the heck, I guess this is a county council member person, getting offended that somebody's rolling their eyes at you is pretty immature. 2, regardless of how important the Pope's first words are to you, and I understand there's like a religious piece to that, you are currently serving the community. You ask officers, you ask city workers, you ask the mail people to work holidays all the time. Trash workers, they miss birthdays, you miss anniversaries, you miss a ton of stuff because you're an essential employee, right? I know, I'm with you on that. Supervisor has to answer calls. That is officially the city council goon squad right there. But like, you're not gonna miss part of a meeting that has this. Your only function there is to help with budgetary issues, right? For a personal thing like that, I get it. It's important, but either you can do the job or you can't. You got to find someone who's actually able to be there to listen to comments and to listen to things. That's kind of like mission critical to the job. I have very little. Miss Hidalgo here can miss me with that.
And made several Pope references during the meeting, explained previous pay raise proposals tied to tax rate increases.
2 of us voted to put that on the ballot. At least ask the voters. 3 of us would not put it on the ballot.
Then it was Commissioner Tom Ramsey's turn.
There's been a lot said that I'm not going to sit here and let these good people walk out thinking that what's just been said is accurate and true. The good news is what y'all do is statutory. Not everything that's in the budget is statutory.
But it's very small, very small.
Would you not interrupt me, please?
Because
I didn't interrupt you when you were making some outlandish statements.
At one point when Hidalgo was talking, Commissioner Adrian Garcia left the room. A display of disunity in front of a group wanting one thing.
I'm here on the behalf of the 3,800 members and the safety of our community to say we need pay parity with HPD, and we need it now.
And Commissioner Ramsey said...
So, I have 2 sets of feelings on this, right? So 1, law enforcement is not like a get rich thing. You should not be doing law enforcement for the pay. You should be doing law enforcement for the right reasons, right? Like you want to be there because you want to make a difference, stuff like that, right? However, cost of living's a real thing. The cops in California have to make more than the cops in Texas. It's just they wouldn't be able to afford to live in the area you're asking them to work, right? Harris County is a great example of that, where Harris County is considerably more expensive to live in than any of the counties surrounding it. If you as a governing body can afford to pay, right, because you get county taxes, HPD, it's their budget. It's their city budget, right? So Houston can afford to pay their officers what they've chose to pay them. They took the priority and said, hey, Houston's a sketchy city. We like police officers, and we want to incentivize the best police officers that we can to come to this, area, right? County, right, having their own tax base, there's going to be some overlap there as far as budget. So I'm not sure why they're using Houston as an example if Houston's pulling their taxes from a very different place, right? I have an issue with the complaint just because you kind of also knew what you were signing up for when you got there. But also like the city council has to look at that and see, is this realistic? What am I doing with my budget that people that, again, I'm going to ask to do X, Y, Z, whether it's working in places or whatever. So I can understand it not being a priority for the council to want to pay these deputies more. If like what am I getting for that investment, right? Like, is there a training disparity between the Harris County deputies and the Harris County Police Department, right? If I have really highly trained and capable officers that are going to be more expensive anyways, that makes maybe more sense why I'm paying them more. Also, you've got to consider responsibilities, right? So if as a county person, if HPD answers the vast majority of the calls for service in that area, well, they should get more of that budget, right? Versus if Harris County deputies aren't answering a lot of these calls for service. Like this is a much more complicated situation than just saying, well, they deserve to get paid the same amount or whatever. Because you could make a very similar argument for jailers. You could make a very similar argument for like dispatchers and stuff like that. Because a bad dispatcher can make your life hell, right? There's way less dispatchers, so there's going to be less like talent to pull from, right? I don't know. I get and I understand the want to get paid more. I'm a right to work kind of person. I grew up in Texas, so I grew up in this culture where we don't have unions. It's literally against the law to have a union here. But I do believe you're going to go where you feel like you're being appreciated, and you're going to go where you feel like your time's valuable. Conversely, my warning to that city council is, right, how do you end up in situations like the Uvalde PD situation or whatever, or the goon squad up there in the, was it Mesa Parks and Rec or whatever it was, is if you're not holding a very high standard for recruiting, it's hard to get people in. Well, if it's a very high standard for recruiting, which means you're asking that person to have a lot of prerequisites, well, the pay better be pretty good, because for all the effort I'm going to put in to meet the prerequisites, I could have X amount of different jobs that are in there. It's a hard economy. These conversations are going to happen with teachers. It's going to happen with truck drivers. It's going to happen with everybody. We all do want to make more, right? But I do think it's really disgusting how the city council can't even hold it together for a meeting, right? You're asking officers to go work a 12-hour shift, piss off their families for not spending time with them, get assaulted and insulted a lot doing the job, and still I require this out of people wearing the uniform, right? But to still act professionally and courteously and to do the job with a certain amount of dignity, right? Like, you owe that to the taxpayer. They're paying you to do your job. You're a city council member. You should be able to put it together for long enough to have these arguments behind closed doors. These outbursts are kind of ridiculous, and honestly, like a big waste of our collective taxpayer. I'm not in Harris County, so it's not my problem, but I'd be pissed. I would be pissed. We do have associations, but that's different than what's it called? I just said it. I can't think of the word now. Like a lobby, basically. Union was the word I was looking for. So I don't know. I have feelings on both sides of the fence here. It's against the law to have unions in Texas. Yes, you cannot have them in Texas.
As it would.
I think this is just a bunch of people being children. We'll do this on administrators. And actually, I mean, as far as the deputies are concerned, I understand their situation. I think it's good that their administrators are lobbying on their behalf. That's what you want, right? I want my sheriff, and I want my sheriff like my deputy sheriffs, or not, I guess they're not deputy sheriffs. They're whoever y'all in y'all's command staff that are helping with that stuff. Pseudo unions, kind of. Right here, you need to chill. Bunions, yes, bunions. But I don't know. We live in a place where you can work wherever you want to work, right? If you're a competitive person as far as employment's concerned. It was kind of the joke. A lot of people. It was funny when I left law enforcement. That was the discussion. Well, what else are you gonna do? And I was like, well, I had careers before that. Like I've probably had 6 or 7 different careers now. I'm a highly employable person, so I can kind of I'm allowed to be a bit more competitive with my time and what I feel is worth my time. But that also requires putting in effort. I'm literally about to volunteer to do this job. I might go back. We'll see. You need to chill. Yes, Tweaky. I do say it a lot. Conglomerate? I'll allow that. Inflation Goon Squad. Steel Switch gets it. Oh my god. Inflation Goon Squad. I remember this. This apparently didn't get important until 4 minutes in.
With officers and would not cooperate with the investigation. All witnesses on scene heard the defendant threaten to hit CW, and another witness stated she observed the defendant push the complainant in the chest and face with 2 open hands. He does have an active felony warrant from the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
But he has an open ag assault somewhere else too?
In Fort Bend County, Judge.
My understanding is it's an older case.
At that time?
Yes, Judge.
May I respond to all this, Your Honor?
Sure. Please.
Where's the interference? Okay.
Well, they're putting him in a car and he's like going blank.
It's not interference with public duties. If they're sitting there saying they have a marijuana charge they could have done, is it a resisting? Maybe, but it's not an interference with the public duties. They said he didn't talk. He doesn't have to talk to them. Like, and they're a 0.1 mile away from the location. For what?
Well, okay, I get that, but so we have what we have. We've got a disturbance at HEB. Cops go there.
Oh, dude, straight to jail. You disturb HEB, straight to jail. This candy skipped to 4:30. I got you, girlfriend. I saw your note. Speaking of Harris County, I forgot this guy's in Harris County. I'm trying to keep up with comments here. Right now, I'm under the influence of Josh. Link, you need to chill. Josh, just to get your attention. Sorry, you can skip. I'm past 4:30, girlfriend. I'm here. I'm on it. I got you.
They start to talk to him, and I guess at that point says, "Hey, man, I'm going to slap her." So at that point, I mean, that's what we have.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Zenon. There's always 2 sides to the story. I get it. This is just probable cause. It doesn't mean that you're guilty of this offense. It's
We're not complaining about HEB. We're saying it's a sacred place in Texas.
Just probable cause. That, in and of itself, is it enough to continue an investigation? And it is, because it's a potential terroristic threat, right? So they have enough to go forward to investigate. They start investigating, and then they find that you have a felony open warrant. And then they find there was something else was there another warrant that you said?
No, it's the aggravated assault. But Judge, I also would like to point out that
But they end up putting him in the car.
HEB is a... we get a Keith. Hold on. I got to adjust the screen for Keith. Keith's going to sneak in here. He's going to catch the last, just under an hour of the stream before I got to go pick up the wife. See if we get audio from Keith. Does your mouth move now, Keith, when you talk? Hold on. We need to get audio from him. He's sorting it out. I could have swore I saw his little mustache move. Anyways, we get a Keith. We'll see if he sorts it out. I'll leave it down there for him. I'm going to keep going. Dad. I love y'all. Yeah, HEB is probably one of the best grocery stores out there. Wait, talk, Keith, real quick. I heard noise come out of your...
I'm speaking.
Oh, okay. I could have...
Did you not hear? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. The audio's a little poo-poo, but I can hear you. I'll turn you up. I could have swore I saw your little mustache.
Headphones. I think it did. I'm going to ask Juan to add that feature.
Dude, somebody make him the GIF where it like talks when he talks. I think that would be incredible. He's just a little barely... I'm hallucinating now. I'm under the influence of Keith, is what it is. And yes, Mighty Dork, I stand by that. If there was an HEB in my jurisdiction, I would be attitude adjusting there.
Baton.
Oh, dude. Oh, waves the baton. Like twirls it, and like whistles or something. It'd be kind of fun. It'd be like a Fallout GIF, It'd be kind of cool.
And at that point, he basically just goes plank like this for them being unable to effectuate an arrest.
And Judge...
I don't think that's an interference.
I don't. I mean, I think the intent of the law within itself is that if you're interfering with their investigation for something else. He did not interfere with anything.
Hold on, let's read the code. Let's read it.
Let's go. Read the code.
Let's read it.
Hold on.
I'll give you...
I used to have a Texas Penal Code book in my car. You could Google it, but I used to keep the physical book, and I would consult that periodically. It was rare, but I would do it every once in a while. I'm like, you know what? Let's know. Let's be sure.
I did the same all the way through. I kept the penal code. Yeah,
dude.
Check the law.
The color of the book would change every once in a while. It definitely just did nothing but get thicker. Like the one Keith probably got, like initially was probably like, I don't know, 1,800 pages, and at the end of his career it was probably like 5,000. Like the thing was enormous. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Thick.
Yeah.
You could put that on your like door and it counted as ballistic protection. That's how serious that book was.
I had the one when they came out with the
Intake could have taken some other things, but
do what? I could have swore you said something.
Well, certainly they could have taken it on my right of...
Had those penal code finder, and you just put in the new pages.
Oh, no way. So it's just like a little... Oh, that's kind of smart. Because they also did like amendments every once in a while. Like they would change something about the law, and then you'd be replacing pages, I guess. But yeah, I guess you could always just put new ones in. That's pretty smart. They did that with our GOs book.
Yep.
The GOs book was always growing. Officer shall not, threaten to tase suspect off a roof.
Thou shalt not.
Unless there was always the exigency clause, but they always had that little cute thing there. Don't talk about me in books. DOT's 3 times as big. I believe that. It was carved into stone tablet. Keith went up to Mount Sinai and got the... He was like, I remember, Hammurabi's code was pretty cool, but then, I was just messing around in the wilderness one time, and this Moses guy came down from a mountain. Keith's like, what you got there? And he's like, these tablets. It's the law.
Moses had good code.
Dude. It was short, too. See? Wasn't that kind? Well, I guess it depends. It depends on how much you read. Get into like Leviticus or something, and okay. That law was a little more complicated.
I mean, you're lucky they didn't charge you with assault of a peace officer. There's a whole host of other charges that they could have put on, If
they didn't hit, they took the one that I do not believe applies here.
Let's read the code. Okay. Let's see what the code says, because there's multiple ways that a charge can that you can charge someone with facts, right? There's multiple ways that can.
It's not Harambe's code. Chill. It's Hammurabi. Oh, it says Hammurabi. I read Harambe. That's dyslexia, dog. Oof. Shout out to Millennial for being college educated.
It's 3815.
That's okay. Don't worry.
You're right. It could have been like a resisting, but.
The DEI hire, disability hire.
Okay, you ready? A person commits an offense if the person with criminal negligence interrupts, disrupts, impedes, or otherwise interferes with, number one, a peace officer while the peace officer is performing a duty or exercising authority imposed or granted by law. Two, a person who is employed to provide emergency medical services, a firefighter. Number three, for an animal under supervision. Now,
So this guy planks while trying to get arrested, I guess.
so I guess it's a person, it interrupts, disrupts, impedes, or otherwise interferes with, number one, a peace officer while the peace officer is performing a duty or exercising authority imposed or granted by law.
That's the vaguest thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, come on.
It is.
Bro, PI be vague, dog. Like, the elements of the offense for PI, like, you could easily fit that. I'm with him. That's why I don't like resisting as a charge by itself, right? That's kind of vague. Bro, breach of the peace or like DOC charges, dude. Broad. They call them catch-alls. But yeah, dog. Yeah, dude. That's, I don't know.
The cop can claim anything is interfering with public duties. I mean, constitutionally, that is the vaguest thing I've ever heard of.
Judge, that's the statute. That's the criminal code.
You'll find no argument with me, right? It is pretty vague. Yeah. It is.
He's got bigger issues. I mean, they should have taken the other charges, my whole point. I mean...
But he's disrupting the officer while he's trying to discharge a duty, right? The officer's trying to arrest him and put him in the car, and he's not letting him do it.
I mean, that's assuming they even had the right to do that. I mean, he's 0.1 miles away.
Felony warrant.
They didn't even know about the warrant. They didn't know about the warrant till after. So, I mean, that comes after all of this.
They're saying, go ahead. I didn't even give you a chance to talk.
No, you're okay, Judge. They were investigating the assault, Judge, is what the threat that he admitted to making. So it was an active investigation, and then when they were detaining him, he was resisting arrest, is what it seems like, and that's why it was charged with interference with public servant.
And there were also 4 911 calls that were made about this couple arguing.
Mm-hmm.
So, where I think this might also fall into, this is just probably a poorly explained report, is why this is getting complicated for them. There's an assault that occurred, and I'm investigating this assault, and this guy's being very uncooperative, right? Now, specifically in Texas, which this would be in Texas, you can only resist, right? Search, transportation, or arrest. You can't do detention. So if they're claiming that interviewing him, which is a search of his persons, technically, that he is resisting that search, technically that would fit, theoretically. Same thing, like a lot of times we go to frisk people for weapons, they pull away, right? And they get sketchy. They get leg swept into next week because this is how cops get shot, right? Or stabbed or whatever. Oh, they watch the body cam? Oh, okay. Hold on. I got to see.
I mean, that's what they were investigating.
And the witnesses all described.
They put him, I guess, did they put him under arrest at the time when he said that he was making that threat?
footage.
I don't see body cam.
And with being
I mean,
0.11.
did they have the authority to arrest at that time? Right?
So I think it was during their investigation, the defendant admitted to threatening,
report writing.
that he would slap the kid.
We should do report writing. That'll be our goon cop report writing.
Yes.
I tell you
I'm
what,
all
dude.
for that.
It is the like the separation between the men and the boys in policing is report writing. I really do believe that.
Yes.
Like, because if you're a good report writer, that also means you know your shit when you're there, right? Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel bad for new police officers in general. I mean, I'm past that point in my career, but like, there's so much to know and to have just memorized. Like, it has to be memorized because you're having to act on it right then and there in the wild. But he says, "Dad, you're supposed to be resting." Are you supposed to be resting, Dad?
The dinner settling. I'm in a hotel tonight. I came down to see a customer, and the Wi-Fi sucks. And so I finally got to take my shoes off and just kind of sitting back and chilling for a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Mom, get you in trouble while you're out here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Misconduct.
And it's at that point they start to put him under arrest.
At that point, they ran him through the NCIC and they found that there was an active warrant, and then they informed him that he was in custody.
Okay, then that's a resisting from what they're using to say he's pushing back or pushing.
Remember,
That's a resist. That's not interference with public duties.
But it could be that a set of facts can be multiple charges, right? So
Yes. I was about to say that. So that's literally how pleading down within. You got to think aggravated assault, right? I square up to Keith. Keith leg sweeps me in the next week, right? It was mutual combat. But then
there's also shanking.
Yeah, I feel about this big, right? Now that I'm scared, so I shank Keith, right? So in shanking Keith, attempted murder.
Run.
Well, that too, but also there's attempted murder, right? Technically, depending on how deep we want to look at, I could find like conspiracy for murder or whatever. Ag assault. You could also have, like, let's just say I barely nick him, right? Even though it's still a stab, right? Maybe even just like assault by threat. If I don't even get him, I just brandish the thing, right? The same set of circumstances, you could apply a bunch of different stuff, but where they might say, we're going to charge him for attempted murder, they can plea it down to aggravated assault with all of the things being the same, right?
Yeah.
You get some of these egregious cases where they're like, we'll plea it down to like assault SBI. And I was like, how is that just not ag assault? They're like, I don't know. There's like a subset of laws somewhere where that's like technically a charge. It's like offensive and provocative. Like, well, he wasn't really hurt. It's Keith we're talking about, right? Like, it's like a Chuck Norris joke, right? So like the same act can fit multiple different things. And I agree with the judge here that I know he's being very legalistic about it, that he's like, well, this should be, it might fit resisting better, but it can be interference. But I prefer to be as specific as possible.
it could be resisting, but it could also theoretically be interfering with what he's trying to effectuate, which is an arrest. It's a duty that he's performing. He's performing the duty of an arrest.
But again, it's vague. If the officer didn't put in the report, he's not saying in the dim summary, you are under arrest.
Well, I mean, it's
okay. Well, I mean, but so
we don't know. I mean, okay.
They're not required to notify. Like, I don't have to tell you you're under arrest. I mean, that's kind of implied when I put the handcuffs on. I used to say it after they were in handcuffs, but there's some safety concerns that could be cited for. I'm not going to tell the guy with the felony warrant for ag assault that he's not in custody yet, right? I got to articulate the need to not tell him ahead of time.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Well, he says he's under arrest, but I mean, damn, it's all but clear.
I mean, this is.
We also don't have the offense report yet.
I don't care. I mean, but I think that there's enough. You know, he's under. He places him in custody, right? He's going to arrest him. Starts putting him in the car, and dude goes blank.
But I don't have the.
I've shared the videos with
remember,
right? I haven't had a
guys,
chance.
this is a very low burden. This is probable cause. This is not beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, beyond a reasonable doubt is a different standard. This is just to see if there's enough to go forward. And And according to this, you're disrupting, allegedly, you're impeding, and you're otherwise interfering with him trying to arrest you and putting you in the car. A person can interfere with duties in multiple ways. It's not just one way. Like you go there and someone else tries to stop an arrest from happening. I know. I think that there's enough.
I want to know what you're about to say.
And if you want time, you guys can go back and talk.
Okay, well, I got a second.
3 times to search it.
Can I have a moment to look at the video? Here on. He's on a whole separate.
But I need to give them time to be able to look at it too. I mean, it's noon. Why don't we do this? Why don't we roll it to Monday and we can? I'll find it now. We can re-approach Monday morning or tomorrow even. Okay, it looks like they didn't give him a PR bond on this.
Okay, so well,
the bond right.
Yeah, it's ag assault warrant. Better not. Well, it's Harris County. Never mind. I take that back. They probably would PR bond the guy. Ugh.
Now it's set at 2,500.
Okay.
Your bond upstairs is set at 5,000. Tell me about that Fort Bend case. Is it old? Is it new?
Let me check, Judge.
I think it's 2023.
Is it?
Yeah.
But I would like for you to watch like the 2 minutes of the video that I think.
So, Judge, I also, because you had this question yesterday, I called Fort Bend and they confirmed it. The Fort Bend County aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. It's just sealed, and that's why I didn't talk about it.
It's just what?
It's sealed at the moment.
Sealed. Is it a new case? Is it an old
It's just
case?
filed in November, Judge.
Wow.
But the offense date was in March.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. It was the offense date was March of 24.
Yes.
So it was allegedly committed prior to. Now, nevertheless, it's still a warrant.
It was.
But how on earth has it never been?
It's because, so they'll unseal it whenever an arrest happens, Judge. The case was filed, but he had 2 other charges in this county, even that he caught even after that one.
I'm so confused. You know that there's Fort Bend knows that there's a felony warrant, a dangerous felony warrant, and they failed to execute that warrant over and over. He's been on probation. He's been meeting with his
dating in here that he's gone.
How many times did you experience this, Keith? Where you're like, what the hell is this other agency doing? Or jurisdiction doing? Dude.
Yeah.
It's when New York told me that
times where they dropped the ball.
Dude, that told you about this, right? It was COVID time and New York wouldn't confirm on a murder warrant. I had to let a guy go with a lady in the car with him. The Bill was there with me. If Bill is my witness, like he looked at me, I looked at him. I was like, "Oh, bro," but I'm like running through my mind, like, okay, like, there's a fence line there, like, there's this pretty dark tent. Like, I started getting stressed because I was like, bro, this might be really sketchy because him wanting to run's high. Like, this guy knows what the warrant's for. If he legit murdered somebody, he knows why I'm here. He knows whatever. And we're not idiots. So I was like, well, Bill, go call them and see if they'll confirm, you know? And so he tells dispatch, and dispatch took him like 10, 15 minutes, or we're just idling there. And even the guy's like, what's taking so long? He's like, hey, New York needs us to call him. But I don't have anything right now. I think we stopped him. He had, I don't know, it was like an improper turn. It was like a petty stop, but it was weird what he was doing. So we stopped the car, and we talked to him, and yeah. I was shocked when my dispatch told me they do not want to confirm. I was like, they know there's a lady in this car, right? Shout out to New York. Does not want to confirm on a murder warrant.
Potential victim? Yeah.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It was the ickiest experience in my life. I was like tempted to go immediate disposition on a citation. Like, that's how sussed out I was. And they were like, no. Because in the jail, it wasn't going to take him. For a citation, the jail would have said no. So she's getting back out anyways. Like, what's the point of going through the whole fiasco? But I told the lady. I was like, you know why he's here, right? Like, in Texas. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, he doesn't want to be in New York because they got a warrant for him. I was like, for what? For murder. She's like, oh, yeah, I know about that. I was like, okay. Bye. Anyways, I've been there. Shout out to judges. I'll give some points to judges here. He did a good job being thorough and I think fair to the both sides of the fence. He realizes he just wants justice to be served, right? We are going to take some points away. He's a county judge. Is this by police? This is HPD probably. I'm going to take some points for having a vague ass report. Don't make it hard on your prosecutors.
Today for the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office Women's Boot Camp. They're now the graduates to become a part of law enforcement. Max Darrow's got that story.
A good stretch essential on this Saturday morning in San Mateo as more than 20 women get on track towards careers in law enforcement.
This here is precisely what I was talking about. That rather than having a desire to just simply hire female officers, they should do this with, and I get that there's like explorers programs, right? Like I understand there's like a version of this to some degree, but like for young people that are like legitimately could potentially be hired, like you're way closer to the hiring age when you're like 18, 19, 20. You have to be 21 in, I'm pretty sure, every state. Maybe there's some exceptions here. But to be a police officer, well, they're out of high school from 19, 20, and 20, right as to get to. So in those 2 years, you have an opportunity to take that adult and get them to, you know, where they need to be to where they might, or just figure out whether they'd be a good candidate or not. So
these women are now graduates of the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office Women's Boot Camp. It was a big moment for Nicole Jacobs.
I feel empowered.
What?
Why they gotta do me like this, man? Why do the camp? Bro, they knew what they were doing. What the fuck? I'm judging the book by the cover. I'm sorry, but this is the reality of it. Dog, I don't know.
So is this like an explorer program thing?
No, it's a boot camp.
feel strong and ready to
So
continue this
are
journey.
they sworn?
The primary goal of the program, to help prepare women for the necessary physical agility test required to enter law enforcement. But Sheriff Christina Corpus said,
yeah, it's just for the agility test.
It's bigger than that.
This boot camp has really helped these women with the confidence that they could do it. You could be a mom and be a law enforcement officer. This program has really helped women believe in themselves.
Corpus started the boot camp back in 2014. She says the Sheriff's Department has ended up hiring more than 25 graduates over the years.
Women are really
They did not hire Gorlock. They let her go to the boot camp.
important to have in law enforcement. We bring, compassion. We bring a lot of strength, and we need more women in law enforcement.
The San Mateo County Sheriff's Office has joined the 30 by 30 initiative, aiming to get their recruit classes to be 30% women by 2030.
I'm really hopeful to see them join the sheriff's office.
I want to help people.
Jacobs now feels like she's a step closer to being able to do that.
This is the best thing I've ever decided to do.
A new path she's ready to pursue.
Shout out to her. Hopefully she continues her journey because she's a little bit away from that. I don't know, man. I have the same beef. I make the same complaints, and you'll see Bill's a little more harsher about this than I am. The job's a demanding job. And you have to, you're not going to get sleep. People are going to fight you. People are going to run from you. People are going to decide to be stuck in a burning building, and fire's not going to come help you. You're going to have to go do it yourself. They're going to not want to get out of the car. It's just such a truly physically demanding job. And my biggest issue when I see this inclination to just say, hey, we'll take anybody, right, is that empty hand techniques still require you to be some level of physically fit or strong or something. It's just go to jailers. Dude, you go to Tarrant County's jailers, holy cow. Gorlock might be able, she ain't gonna have to run after anybody, but she's at least big enough to fight somebody. I don't know, man. I do believe there is a function where your physical capabilities don't matter. I think in detective work it doesn't matter. I think in in dispatching it doesn't. Clearly, some of the best dispatchers I've ever met. She's their new Bearcat. Y'all are mean. But patrol And typically they make everybody do patrol before they do anything else. Patrol by itself is an incredibly physically demanding space to be in. And the problem is it's just dangerous for you and for everybody else when you are not able to stand. I have the same complaint for men, right? I don't know. Just when I was going to give them points, it's the sheriff's office, right? I'll let you suffer for that. I'll take 5. Yeah, I'll be able to get to at least 1 or 2 more before I got to take off. Stat cough. No, it's just a random who pooped themselves.
No, that's me. Sorry about that.
Oh,
South of San Antonio air.
That's San Antonio air.
Yeah.
County shopping center shows the moments a local police chief pulled a gun on a 24-year-old motorcyclist last month. Thanks for joining us for Fox.
Bro, that old man's still trying to get after it. I'm here for it.
43 News at 5. I'm Amy Lutz. The new video seemingly contradicts prior police reports about the incident, and charges have since been dropped. Fox 43's Matt Kleinens joins us live from Manheim Township now with the very latest. Matt.
Whoa, there's like a... This lady's like a LDS. You think? Am I off base for that? Probably.
Amy, on May 2nd, Manheim Township Police announced that they had arrested 24-year-old Benny Pena Rivera after he allegedly shoved Chief Dwayne Fisher and resisted arrest during a traffic stop a couple days prior. However, Pena Rivera says that the security video tells a different story from that day. This security video shows the moment Manheim Township Police Chief Dwayne Fisher pulled a gun on a 24-year-old man after an alleged traffic violation.
If it was... Wait. Oh, dude, what the hell? So this wasn't even a traffic? This was even a call? I thought they said he was robbing the place. Did I misread this?
From a Lancaster County shopping center shows the moments a local police chief pulled a gun on a 24-year-old motorcyclist last month.
Oh, they didn't say anything about the offense. Oh, that's sketchy then. Okay, never mind. I take it all back. This old bastard's over here doing unlawful shit.
For an alleged traffic violation.
If it wasn't for that video, nobody would actually believe what I was saying or anything.
Benny Pena Rivera is demanding answers after this interaction on April 30th landed him in jail and facing multiple charges. Pena Rivera says he was riding his motorcycle to his job at Wingstop prior to the incident and briefly saw Chief Fisher on his way.
I actually saw him on the road on the traffic light that he said that I ran, but he actually waved at me and everything, like, you know, hello. And everything just went normal.
After parking his motorcycle, Pena Rivera was approached by Fisher, who wasn't wearing a police uniform and didn't have his police lights on.
I'll be honest, somebody approached me like that in the street. But I hope you're good at shooting, Doc. Golly, in an unmarked car? Like, no. And for what? I really, I don't know why my brain, I guess I'm not caffeinated enough. I thought they said for like a break-in or something, but no.
It's POP.
Bro, POP and a half, dog. Oh my God. Goon Squad Chief. You missed the Goon Squad story, dog. It was really out of pocket. Oh.
I can check it out.
On in his unmarked car.
All I heard it was underground.
Even verbally IDing in this set of circumstances, like, if you're stopping something crazy, I get it. But like for a traffic violation or whatever, like, I ain't even stopping for it, dog. I'm not even calling that in. Yes, exactly. As Squirtle said. Try that in Houston.
I don't know, I will shoot you. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? You know, what's the reason for all this to be happening at all? And all of a sudden, I just have a gun on my face, like literally on my face. And then on top of that, he's wrestling with me with the gun and everything. If it wasn't because I actually flee out of the season, I don't even know why would it even happen?
Chief Fisher would later turn on his police lights after Pena Rivera fled on foot. In a May 2nd Crime Watch post, police say Pena Rivera ran a red light, rode up on the sidewalk, and weaved between vehicles before being stopped. They say he was arrested for ignoring Chief Fisher's orders and using his bike to push him down before running away. On Wednesday, Lancaster County District Attorney Heather Adams announced that they were dropping all criminal charges against Pena Rivera, saying, quote, "The Mannheim Police Department and the parties agreed to the resolution of charges in this manner based on the facts and circumstances."
He has no proof. Unless he took video of it. Right? Like, because typically you have a dash cam that would bail you out. Back in the day, I guess, Keith's day, they'd scribble it down on some stone tablets or whatever, but like...
Yeah, we had like, you know, some just old papyrus and...
Papyrus?
Yeah,
but
coal.
But in the current day and age, what's going to be required is proof that all of that stuff happened. Like even speeding, like you're going to need a reading from your LiDAR gun and stuff like that. Like you're going to need something that documents the proof, right? Yeah, dog. I don't know about this.
Of this case. Pena Rivera says he's calling for Chief Fisher to take accountability for his actions that day.
I really want to make justice to go the way it should be, because I don't feel comfortable not even going outside right now or nothing, or even seeing a cop or anything, because at this point I see a cop and I just feel threatened.
I'm probably not the greatest person to talk about this, but it's 8:15. Thank you.
Yes, I'm definitely not.
But and this is gonna sound kind of wild. That is the goal. Technically, when I was on duty, I wanted people to feel uncomfortable because people that weren't doing, and this is the mindset here, right? I was in a rather, I'm gonna call it a combative city, right? And in that city, I got the time. I could do one more. If you were part of the criminal element, I wanted you to be afraid of law enforcement. Like that was kind of the goal. I was a deterrent against crime, right?
Stay in your house.
Right. Conversely, if you were part of society, you felt protected that I was there. You need to accomplish both, right? But if he was indeed part of the criminal element, and let's say he was veering through traffic and doing a bunch of wild stuff, right? Then sure. But good. That is mission accomplished there, right? Like that's I don't know. So I have mixed feelings on that. If this guy shouldn't be going off and pulling dudes over at gunpoint, like not in uniform, but I'm really having to scroll for this next story. Here we go.
You better burn off, dude.
Okay.
Is she at the north airport or the south or the central one?
Oh, I'm like
only on 9. Away. One woman is.
She didn't land till 9:30. I got plenty of time. I'm gonna make her some coffee. Make sure she's got some coffee when she lands and everything. I'm good like that. I got time. Okay, last one. We're gonna still take stuff away from admin here because he probably shouldn't have interjected himself in that. And then we will take it from suspects for getting caught.
And that being a little bitch.
Last one.
Calling for accountability after an Orange County deputy confiscated her personal belongings during a traffic stop. The sheriff's office says the deputy in question, Jacob Hobby, resigned in the middle of this internal investigation. Channel 9's Sabrina Majore.
You're really popping in for this last one. Now I have to adjust it. One.
I made it just in time.
This guy. Hold on. There we go. Okay, fixed.
Is at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. You were there earlier today. You're back here now in studio, Sabrina, and you have a copy of that internal investigation.
Yeah, Martha, it's all laid out in this report. This investigation ultimately found Hobby violated rules, broke the law, and falsified records.
The only reason this man got caught is because I chose to speak up.
Irene Torres recalls seeing flashing red and blue lights as she drove down Alafia Trail in early January.
This report says during a 3-minute traffic stop, Orange County Deputy Jacob Hobby pulled her over and violated several policies and procedures.
This is someone that is supposed to be following the rules, someone that's supposed to make us feel safe.
According to the report, Hobby never called in the traffic stop. He didn't activate body-worn camera.
Just not calling it in is enough. You're talking days off, if not termination, where I'm at. Or where I'm from.
Yeah.
The body-worn camera thing, the only excuse you'd have is if it died. You'd still get dash camera, though, typically. Dash cameras, by the time I hit the streets, dash cameras were pretty high speed, low drag.
Illegally took Torres' license and also confiscated this THC vape pen without checking her medical marijuana card. The Orange County Sheriff's Office eventually launched an internal investigation. It found Hobby not only violated rules, but also falsified records, claiming this THC pen was seized in a different traffic stop that happened 4 days later.
Bro planted that. Okay, charges. Like, we skipped all the way to, bro, deputies are having it pleaded down.
little perjury, little official misconduct. Yeah, let's go.
Jeez.
He told investigators this was the only time he confiscated either a license or property in this manner and said, quote, "I thought I was doing her a huge solid by not wrecking her life with multiple traffic tickets."
Stop. Who was it? Was that you, Juan? Oh my God. I didn't say that here. Y'all chill.
What he did was a tremendous betrayal of the public trust.
Hobby resigned as a deputy sheriff in the middle of Orange County's investigation. But attorney Tom Biter says he believes Hobby could face criminal charges.
He should. That could. Like, bro, what?
He'll face them, but then he'll get away from them.
Squirtle. I hate that I started.
Bro, I had so much to say.
Policing is a hard job, but the rules aren't complicated.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
They try to treat this like an anime. Like oh, this is illegal. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't plant drugs.
Maybe I don't go back, dog. What the? Bro, I'd be so pissed.
He did steal property of.
Do what?
If you do, you got to bring your vape pen.
Oh, no kidding, right?
You're gonna need it.
You might drop vape pen, golly.
Other people, and he took it without any authority, and he was acting way beyond his capacity as a law enforcement officer.
For Torres, the license seizure had real consequences. It delayed her ability to start law school. She wants to see accountability.
It doesn't sit right with me. The fact that he quit during the investigation and is now, doing whatever it is that he's doing, it's like he got away with the abuse of power.
I would call and file charges for unlawful restraint and burglary. Like vehicle burglary, right? Or I guess it'd be robbery. It's from a person. That's just as bad. Like you took it. And then you have official oppression and all that other stuff.
I would finish law school, become a prosecutor in that county. And specifically go through every single incident this officer has ever been involved in. And just make some recommendations.
I'll take 25. I'm actually going to take points from the prosecutor's office because they could have recommended charges.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he might face charges. He might.
I guess. All right, boys and girls, that is the end of it for me. I gotta go pick up the wife. Thursday's stream will be just the same. It'll probably start. We'll see. I guess if you guys prefer earlier starts, I can maybe make 6:30 happen, but 7:30 gives us all kind of a nice buffer for like dinner and stuff. But that'll be an extra long one. I don't have to get up too terribly early on Friday, so that'll be it's going to be kind of a bear of a stream. I got a lot of Bodycam to go through. I only got through like maybe 15 or 20 today, if that. But we do have that stuff coming up. If you would like to hang out with us more, I gave the wife was out, so I probably spent like 2 or 3 extra days in the Discord. You can join that either going through the Patreon link or becoming a member here on YouTube. You can, for as little as $1 a month, get direct access to the Discord. And we're considering a alternative to Bonsai. It was like a 3-hour discussion last night of seeing if we could do it. We might also just do it for like the new people. So like we would be judges. So we get to have fun because we get to watch. I don't remember most of the skits. We were going through it and I was like, I don't remember a lot of these. I don't remember the outcomes. It's what it was. And so we might bring, yeah, dude, we might bring back
the first episode. So traumatic, yes.
So out of pocket.
I love that. Yeah,
so,
we should get that one.
If you would like to be part of the inside jokes, it was a lot of them that came out of that. You guys can go ahead and join that group. It's pretty cool. There's also a lot of other. There's some military adjacent stuff. There's people that share memes, and then there's producer Juan Daily Pics, which is turned into basically cats.
It's just pet pics.
Yeah. So, anyways,
we need more dogs in there. Y'all get more dogs in there.
Good old
short cats right now.
Yep. The cats are just cheap. Dogs are an investment. Dogs cost money. Cats are literally free in most places. I think that's why. Also require like the minimal. They're like the it's like succulents.
At your house, they just show up.
Yeah, they
they sprout like weeds out of the ground.
Dude, I have 2 little like they look like just little shadows, like completely black eyes, completely black. They're cute little kittens. I've gotten to pet
little demon cats.
Little demon cats. They're pretty adorable. But I got to pet them today. I was feeding them, which I shouldn't do, but I'm soft. So anyways, I'm going to go pick up the wife. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. I may or may not jump on the Discord later this evening. We'll see. If not, I will see the rest of you guys on Thursday. Thank you to Keith for showing up, even in the hotel. He did it like, who was it? 68 Whiskey. He used to do stuff out of the hotel room.
Yeah.
That's Keith now. And then for Juan, he caught the last one. Juan did it for y'all.
That's right.
So until next time, I will see you guys on Thursday. Oh, bye-bye.
I allegedly risked another ticket for y'all.
Yes. Allegedly.